hockey. Tonight's game is brought to you by your Metro Detroit AMC Jeep Renault dealers, offering the all-new two-wheel, four-wheel, and front-wheel drive cars for 1981. And by Peschke and the Peschke Great American Premium line of meat products. And by Busch Beer. Remember, don't just reach for a beer, head for the mountains. Now, from ringside, here's Bruce Martin and Sid Abel.
Hello, everybody. We greet you from the Boston Gardens, where tonight the Detroit Red Wings will be playing just their third game under their new coach, Wayne Maxner. And Sid Abel still looking for their first victory away from home after 14 starts thus far.
Well, there have been some positive things since Wayne Maxter has taken over, Bruce. I thought the other night that he had the club playing stronger defensively. They still have to score goals. They're not a club that has been scoring a lot of goals on the road. They're having trouble winning on the road. And I don't know if this is a good place to start or not, because this club, the Boston club, just grind everything out and they run right over you. It's going to be a case of seeing if the Wings are here to take the bumps and go on from there.
Well, we have to go back 4 years, Sid. Remember the last time the Red Wings won a hockey game here in the Boston Gardens? It was December of 1976 when the Wings last won here in Boston. But as you said, Wayne Maxner has put together what I'd have to call a little different style of hockey than we have seen the Red Wings play for a while. And it's not going to happen overnight, certainly, but he seems to be, I'd say, encouraged, somewhat optimistic.
He definitely is encouraged. He feels that they are listening to him, and I believe the club has played stronger the last couple of games, Bruce. The record doesn't prove it, but they're playing a club tonight, too, that is probably one of the oldest teams in the league. Boston got caught napping and got caught with fellows 35 and 40. There are 6 players in the Boston lineup that are between 30 and 40 years old, including Rattel, who is 40. The Wings, on the other hand, are a young hockey club. Boston are trying to go young now, and they've had trouble as of late trying to get things going because of that.
And, of course, Historian goaltenders with Jim Craig. He'll be in the nets for the Boston Bruins tonight, but it'll be Gilles Gilbert, the former Bruin, starting for the Wings. And we'll be back with the opening face-off in just a moment.
It sounds like thunder and moves like lightning. And when it's over, you head for the mountains.
Busch.
Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name.
Busch.
Head for Busch beer.
Head for the mountain.
Head for...
We'd like to introduce the 1981 American Motors Concorde.
Pretty ain't enough anymore, mister.
You're right, but Concorde's more than just good looking. This luxury compact's made of the same stuff you are.
Huh?
Steel. Galvanized steel. Concorde's the only American car with galvanized steel in 100% of the exterior body panels.
But is it tough on gas?
Concorde beats Chevy Citation.
Mister, you might be onto something.
See the all-new 1981 AMCs at your Metro Detroit AMC Jeep dealer.
Gilles Gilbert got a very nice hand when he was introduced to the crowd here at the Boston Gardens. And there's the former Red Wing and now Boston Bruin goaltender Rogie Vachon, who will be the backup netminder for the game here tonight, while the former Olympic star Jim Craig will be in the nets, as we mentioned, for the Boston Bruins. But Gilles Gilbert said he is playing, I'm going to say, reasonably well. He just has not been able to get a team playing that well in front of him.
Oh, he's played well. The team hasn't played that well. I think he has held the team in many games. He's very quick with his glove hand. Played, I would say, exceptionally well for the Wings.
And now, prior to the start of this game from the Boston Gardens, our national anthem. referee, Ron Harris, his two linesmen, Kevin Collins and Sweet Knox. At center ice, the game about to get underway. The second game of the season for these two teams. The Red Wings, with Jules Gilbert in goal back on the 11th of November, played a 4-4 tie with Boston at the Joe Louis Arena. Nedimansky scored with about a minute and a half to go in that game, and it was Jim Craig in the Boston goal that same night. So this will be the second of the season, the first ending in a 4-4 tie back at the Joe Louis Arena.
Jim Craig is starting this game, Bruce, with a 5-game undefeated streak, 2 wins and 3 ties.
Well, the Bruins have come alive really in recent games. They've only lost 1 in their last 11 games, won 5 and tied the other 5. So the game is underway. Mike Milbury goes in behind his own goal. The Wings have started the game with Mal Davis. He has Glenn Hicks and Peter Mahavlich with him. Puck fired back into the Boston zone as Milbury goes in behind Craig. Dumps it up on the right side to Rick Middleton. Middleton, who leads his team in scoring, played it out to center ice. It was sent back into the Boston end with rookie John Barrett in offside.
I'm just talking briefly about, there's Rick Middleton, the leading scorer, had his finest year last year, but just talking briefly about young John Barrett coming up from Glens Falls, Adirondack American League. I thought played a pretty sound game. He was burned on a player coming out of the corner, but hit a few people in the last game.
Two big defensemen on the ice for Detroit right now, Willie Huber and Jim Korn. That's Huber holding it in. Took a bump from behind, still sent it into the corner. Milbury goes in there with Mike Foligno. Dale McCourt got to it, but it's cleared up on the left side. Bounced back in along the boards. They battle there for it. Number 11, Steve Casper, ahead to Cashman. Cashman plays it in behind the Detroit goal. It goes into the corner. John O'Grodnik, number 25 of the Red Wings. He and Middleton battle for it. Middleton comes up with it. Now that's Casper in behind the goal. Casper trying to work away from John O'Grodnik. Middleton goes in after it. They scramble to the boards, and that puck came loose. And with it now is O'Grodnik. John O'Grodnik bounces it out to center ice. It went out Pratt Park, and here's Dale McCourt. He's going in. Took the backhander, hit the goal post. He hit the goal post. He had the goaltender beaten on the play. Play stays in the Boston zone. Now Jonathan out at center ice for Middleton. Ahead to McNabb. Here's McNabb over the line. He got by Korn and then lost control. Comes back out center ice. McCrimmon fires a long shot. Foligno didn't go after it. It goes in behind the Detroit goal with Jonathan in after it. Stan Jonathan putting it back to the line. Dick Redmond fired the shot. Knocked down out in front. And a big save by Gilbert and a rebound. And Tyler Jonathan bangs it in. It just lay all around the Detroit goal crease. And the Wings failing to clear it out. Now trail 1-0.
Well, they had 3 or 4 chances. You can't ask for a goaltender to make more saves than this. The play comes way out to the blue line. The shot is taken. Gilbert makes the save. Redmond's shot. Puck just lays there. Watch the shot here. He makes a save. Now he makes another save, and it finally comes through the goal crease, and Jim Korn gets turned the wrong way. And Stan Jonathan was standing right at the edge of the crease just to throw it in the empty net.
So Jonathan gets his 4th goal of the season, as Gilbert did everything in the world to hold him out.
There's Stan Jonathan who scored the goal, but this is a play that the kind you worry about. It's left sitting right out in front, and Gilbert makes a sprawling save, and when the puck bounces into the goal crease, Jonathan was just waiting there, more or less. You'd call that a garbage collector. He was sitting at the right spot.
Now Secord giving a bump to Barrett. He still clears it up the right side. It bounced away from Polonich. Bounces back out center ice, and Al Secord has it there. Crimmin played it back into the Detroit zone. Larry Melnick in behind the Detroit net is Barrett. Barrett trying to pull away. This time he clears it all the way down the ice, but it's going right to the net, so there's no icing, and Craig drops it off for Gary Doak. The goal scored by Jonathan from Foster and McNabb at 1:42, and Boston into a quick 1-0 lead. Now Gilbert up on the right side. That's Polonich steering it down the ice. It got by everybody. And going after it, Gary Doak. They waved off the icing, so Doak being chased by Errol Thompson. Secord took a bump, and then Secord took a whack at Errol Thompson. There'll be a penalty coming up to him. He just let a right hand go at Errol Thompson. And the Red Wings will have the power play advantage, and we'll be back with their power play after this message.
Come, experience what lies beyond the sports car. American Motors introduces Eagle SX4, the new four-wheel drive sport machine. Eagle SX4 outcorners Trans Am in soft sand, out-accelerates Mustang Turbo in loose dirt, outbrakes MGB on dry pavement. Plus, the four-wheel drive Eagle SX4 beats them all in gas mileage. Experience driving in the fourth dimension with American Motors.
Errol Thompson going in the corner, and Secor just takes a punch with his left hand and knocks Thompson down and winds up getting a roughing penalty at 2:42. And this may turn out to be that type of hockey game, because the last time these two teams met, Dennis Blonich and Bork were in a little Donnybrook, and Bork suffered a fractured jaw.
Now that's Ogrodnik. His pass broken up by Brad Park. Willie Huber held it in. Digging in behind the net was Dale McCord. He couldn't get to it. And Bobby Lalonde sweeps it out center ice. Reed Larson has it there. Turns it back for Mike Foligno. Foligno still in the center ice zone. The Wings having trouble controlling it. Finally, Reed Larson hands it back to Huber. Now Willie Huber firing it along the boards. Going in after this Foligno. Mike Foligno playing it deeper in the corner now to Dale McCord in behind the goal. McCord centering pass broken up. Here's Ogrodnik with it. John Ogrodnik back on the line. Reed Larson hands it back to Ogrodnik into the circle off the side of the net. Mike Foligno. Foligno in behind the Boston goal. Foligno out in front. Couldn't get the shot away. Here's McCourt going after it. Dale McCourt had it tipped away, and it comes out center ice. McCourt back after it. Reed Larson handing it back now to Huber. Willie Huber up on the right side over the line. Foligno trying to go around his man. He did, but he was checked right there. Held in by Huber off to Reed Larson, and his pass broken up. Larson had a great opportunity, but elected to make the pass. And the play back down the ice with 50 seconds remaining in Secord's penalty. John Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik a long pass off Foligno. McCrimmon will play it back in the Boston end. Clears it ahead. Moving with it is Middleton. He's got Reed Larson in front of him. And Larson and Middleton go to the corner. Paul Woods is dumped. Woods had the skates pulled out from underneath him. That's Miller. Bob Miller going in. Taking a bump along the boards by Reed Larson. Coming out with it again now is Willie Huber. Trying to work away from Ogrodnik. Drops it back for Nedomansky. Wings are at center ice with 15 seconds left in the penalty. Over the line, Nedomansky with a shot, and that sailed wide. And it bounced by everybody all the way back into the Detroit zone, and time running out on the Boston penalty. The Wings had their chances. 1-0. Boston leads. Here's Danny LeBratton. Penalty's over. Secord's on. LeBratton over the line. LeBratton put it right out in front, and Nedomansky missed the net. Danny LeBratton, a great play, and Nedomansky was wide open with a half-empty net. There's Jim Korn with a shot deflected way wide. Puck came back toward the line, but Cashman has it. Played it out center ice. Barrett played it too far for Nedomansky. Coming right back, Milbury into the Detroit zone. Mike Milbury into the corner with it. Takes a bump from Barrett. With it now is Wayne Cashman. Cashman and Paul Woods in along the boards. Korn gets into it. They hold it there. Face off to the left of the Detroit goal. And with a score 1-0, Boston will be back in just a moment.
I was in need of good looks at a great price and fast. Oh, just look at this blazer. It's tailored in a super stretch Dacron fabric for comfort and fabulous fit. And the Kmart price, well, it's simply hard to beat at $32.96. You can even buy mix and match vests and slacks in the most popular colors.
Thanks, Kmart. We'll need appliances next.
Kmart's Christmas saving place.
Lefty Wilson working on Paul Wood's nose. He got a little scrape on the nose, I think, when he fell on the corner. And he's playing with a bad groin. He didn't play in the Island the other day. Was doubtful tonight.
Wings continue to play without Brent Peterson. And also Perry Miller not here tonight. He is in Winnipeg. The funeral of a very close friend. He's given permission to attend that. Play is going to stay in the Detroit zone. The Bruins have a couple of pretty big men out of the lineup. Don Marcotte, Terry O'Reilly, and Ray Bork. In our first intermission, we'll be featuring our fan forum once more and our one-on-one contest, this time between the Taylor Blades and the Michigan Travelers. That's in the first intermission of tonight's telecast. McNabb, Foster, and Jonathan. This is the line that accounted for the only goal of the hockey game. McNabb won the face-off, a bouncing shot off to the side of the Detroit goal. Gilbert, way out of the goal, played it into the corner. Jonathan centered it out for Foster, played it back on the line. And it's broken up, and here come the Wings back. Bounced out to center ice by Mal Davis, number 19. Then Foster picks it up, fired a shot wide of the goal. Jonathan and Reed Larson go heavily into the boards. Puck comes back to the line again. Another shot, and again Gilbert out of the goal, made the save there. And Larson swings in behind his own net and starts out. Now Reed Larson. Foster has Hicks all tied up. Here now is Mahavlich over the line, playing it in behind the Boston goal. It'll come back toward the line for Reed Larson. Larson let the shot go. He scores! And the Wings have tied the hockey game as Larson let one go from the right point.
And that's exactly what they have to do if you try to run a screen out in front. Get that puck back out to the point man. And Reed Larson really rifles this. It's down about probably 6 or 8 inches off the ice. Just catches inside the corner. Craig, it appears, had come out well out of side of his crease to cover the angle, but didn't have it covered properly because Reed caught just inside the post with a typical Larson shot.
So Larson has his 6th goal on the season now, and the Wings have tied the hockey game at 6:08. Puck went behind George Lyle. Jim Korn gives chase to it. In behind his own goal, pulling away from Rattel. Peter Mahavlich draws the assist on the goal. Now the play back into the Detroit zone. Rattel dumped it in behind the goal. Jim Korn fed it out too far for Errol Thompson. Brad Park held it in. Gilbert played it into the corner. Korn in after it, being checked there by Rattel. And the puck finally grabbed underneath him by Korn himself. They still battle, scramble in along the boards. Korn shoves Rattel off of it, and George Lyle finally gets loose. Here's Lyle starting out. Long pass up the right side, going after it. Secord. Dennis Polonich in after him. Polonich turns. Now Polonich's pass went behind his man Morrison, bounced off the boards, and going in after it Milbury. We've played 7 minutes, 15 seconds of the first period. Game is tied at 1-1. Gilbert let it go into the corner. Morrison dumped it right out in front of the goal. And Gilbert himself played it all the way to the other goal. So it's goaltender to goaltender, with Brad Park going in behind Craig. Now Cashman playing it ahead, moving out with it is Casper. Steve Casper fired the shot wide of the Detroit net. John O'Grodnik played it too far out in front of Dale McCourt. Redmond hands it back now. Puck fired deep into the Detroit zone. O'Grodnik up on the right side for Mike Foligno. Foligno played it deeper into his own zone, and Larson being checked there by Middleton. Lost it. The Bruins have control. Casper played it back. Here's Redmond with a shot. He scores. The Red Wings, Mike Foligno that time, Sid, really should have made the play out center ice.
Yes, a bad play. I actually believe this puck hit somebody out in front of the net. Redmond comes in. This is a good play, though. Cashman give it in and comes out here to Redmond. Redmond walks in. It's a high shot. It bounces off. It could be Larson, or it's not Cashman. Cashman's back in the net. Gilbert come well out of his net to try and cover it, but...
So we may have a high-scoring hockey game before this is all done. It is now 2-1. Puck fired deep into the Boston zone. McCrimmon goes in behind his own goal after it and starts out now. The goal comes at 7:57. We'll await the call on it. Redmond fired the shot. The Wings had it in their own zone, but just didn't clear it out. Here's Larson starting with it again. His pass coming up to Dale McCourt. McCourt ahead to John O'Grodnik. He got it over the line. He's checked there. He and Middleton have one another tied up. Miller goes in behind his own net. Bob Miller ahead now to Middleton. Rick Middleton's pass goes into the Detroit zone. Bobby Lalonde with it. Here's Lalonde moving right out in front and fired it right through the goal crease. Now Mike Foligno's pass picked up by John O'Grodnik. Right at the Detroit line. It was Redmond who got the goal. Casper draws the only assist on the goal, scored by Redmond. So the puck back into the Detroit zone now. Danny LeBratton, number 21 of the Wings, in after it. LeBratton drops it back now, and Jim Korn heads out. At center ice, Jim Korn on the move. Played it up on the left side to LeBratton. Danny LeBratton trying to work away from Gary Doak. Paul Woods tipped it, but Doak back after it. Now it's cleared ahead by Melnick. Jonathan's pass stopped by Korn, but he came right back to McNabb. McNabb got over the line, but he's checked there by Danny LeBratton, and then McNabb hauled Huber to the ice. And there's going to be, I believe, a Boston penalty as McNabb hauled the Detroit defenseman down. So we'll be back with a second Detroit power play after this message.
Trail boss on a cattle drive. You put in long days under the big sky, and when the work's over, you head for the mountains.
Bush.
Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name.
Bush.
Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountain. Head for...
Here's a case where everyone gets in too close to the net, and a high shot. Gilbert come out and took as much as he could.
Couldn't even see Gilbert, so he had no idea where the
Peter
puck was.
McNabb got a penalty for holding. He threw the Detroit defenseman down after having the stick knocked out of his hand.
Now here's Larson ahead to Foligno. Went off his skate, but he was in ahead of the play offside. So the play comes out over the Boston blue line. Friday night at 8 o'clock, the Detroit Pistons take the court in a battle against the Washington Bullets. Live basketball action on TV 50.
That goal of Redmond's, Bruce, though, you mentioned it started in the corner where Mike Foligno had handled the puck, and instead of coming out with it, he went back into the corner to Larson, and then the team got in trouble. It wound up going behind the net and out to Redmond. First thing you know, it's in the net.
Now here's Willie Huber. It bounced away from him. John Ogrodnik back after it, giving it once more to Larson, and they're all the way back into their own zone. 1:45 left in the penalty. Larson tipping it ahead. He had to hold up. Two of the Red Wings were in offside, and Larson has to hustle back to beat Rattel. Willie Huber now. Huber firing it along the boards. Craig stops it in behind his own goal. Hands it there to his defenseman, McCrimmon. McCrimmon played it to the line. Willie Huber held it in there. Now Huber gives it to Ogrodnik off the side of the net. Dale McCourt in behind Craig. Now Dale McCourt bringing it out, handing it off to Huber with a shot. He scores! And the power play goal ties the game at 2-2.
And that was pretty well a replay of the Redmond goal. It was a real fine play between Ogrodnik and McCourt.
Willie Huber's first goal of the year, Sid.
And McCourt makes a real fine play. John Ogrodnik is holding his own at the corner of the net, makes a perfect pass out to Willie Huber, and he catches the short side. I don't think Craig saw anything at all because Rattel come out to try and check Huber, and he shot just as Rattel got in front of him into the short side.
So the game now is 2-2. Play into the Detroit zone, jammed in along the boards, face off to the left of Gilbert. John Ogrodnik, along with McCourt, draw the assists at 10:05. Willie Huber's first goal of the season.
Well, Ogrodnik started the play, and there's the play that come out from McCourt to Huber, and it went right on the short side. Goaltender reacted after the puck was in the net.
Oh, a big save off of Morrison by Gilbert, and the Wings slide it all the way down the ice. Back after it, McCrimmon. There'll be an icing call against Detroit. And the play will come right back into the Red Wing zone. So Jonathan put Boston in front. Larson tied it. Redmond put the Bruins in front again, and Huber has tied it. Next Thursday is free puck night with the Red Wings. The first 7,000 youngsters, 16 years and under, will receive a free puck, compliments of Coca-Cola and the Red Wings. That's Thursday. Next Thursday night, the Red Wings Coca-Cola Puck Night at the Joe Louis Arena. Peter Mahovlich now with Errol Thompson and Dennis Polonich.
Detroit haven't scored on their power play for quite some time, and so it's nice to see that
I thought
goal
both
go
power,
in.
even
The
the
first one was a good one. Netamansky should have scored on the first one. He got a setup from LeBreton that was perfect, and he missed the net.
Now Willie Huber trying to work away from Rattel, feeds it out in front of Errol Thompson. Thompson stopped it, but they whistled it down on an offside, and the play will stay right at center ice.
You mentioned that we may have a wide open, high-scoring game, Bruce. This building is made to have high-scoring games. There's Wayne Maxner behind the Red Wing bench. He's a very cool coach. He walks up, he does encourage them. He gives them a pat in the back every once in a while and gives his instructions.
Now the play by Gilbert. It bounced along the boards. Miller gave Polonich a bump, and Polonich comes out with a puck. He's got Errol Thompson ahead of him. The pass was behind Thompson. Dick Redmond back in his own zone. Just cleared it back out center ice. Reed Larson dumps it. That bounced over the stick of Errol Thompson, so Redmond back into his own zone to get it again. And again, Larson has it at center ice and shoots it right back in. McCrimmon. Brad McCrimmon bringing it back out center ice once more. Played it ahead. Secord takes it over the line. Errol Thompson bumped Morrison, and he's going to get an interference call. Errol Thompson, who's been shaken up, is very, very slow getting up out in front of the Detroit goal. But it looks like an interference call, and we'll be back with the first Boston power play in just a moment.
Mr. Green,
Yeah.
you need any help?
Mm-mm.
Want my Coke?
No, no.
Really, you can have it.
Okay. Thanks.
That's the way it should be. I like to say,
See you around.
the whole world smiling with me. Coca-Cola as right. Have a Coke and a
Wow, thanks, Mean Joe.
I would think Errol Thompson makes a pretty good play. He just comes in and he uses his body. He's not... I would think that is a legitimate play when a player is breaking in on the net to get your body out in front of him to try to take him out of the play. He
Both look like they're going
doesn't
for the
throw
puck.
his arms around him or anything at all. He used just by cutting in front and putting his body in front of him, he stopped the player from getting in on the net. But it was called interference.
11 minutes and 13 seconds. There's Foster with a shot, and that deflects high over the glass and up into the crowd. Wayne Maxner, incidentally, will be the subject of an interview in the second intermission of tonight's hockey telecast, so you'll have his views and ideas on what it's going to take to get this Red Wing team moving. Game is tied at 2-2. We've played 11 minutes, 16 seconds of the first period. Barrett, number 2, trying to get the puck loose, tipped it off to the side. Foster will hold it in. McNabb into the corner after it. Now it's taken by Barrett. He fanned on the clearing pass, so Rattel holds it in, but McCourt follows up, and Dale McCourt backhands it the length of the ice. A minute and 40 seconds left, and the penalty called to Harold Thompson. Now that's Rattel dropping it back for Foster. Right, Foster with the beard, clearing it up on the right side, knocked away by Dale McCourt. He shot it back at center ice. Barrett cleared it back to the Boston zone, and Foster goes after it. They've used up 40 seconds of the penalty time. Brad Park, the head now to Rick Middleton. Dale McCourt fell down, and here's Middleton moving over the line, being checked there by Paul Woods. Puck held in by Foster. He sets up Brad Park. Park with a shot, and old Gilbert came up with a big catch on that. And I'll tell you, out in front of the goal, Barrett cleared the zone. He took McNabb right off the play.
It was a good play by Barrett. Park moves in at the top of the circle, and the screen out in front, Barrett took his player right out of the play, Big McNabb, and pushed him to the side so that Gilbert could see the puck, and Gilbert made the save.
Sid Maryland from the Detroit Hockey Office has asked us to pass along a very happy birthday wishes to a fellow celebrating his young 95th birthday today, John Frank Huron, who I guess is quite a hockey fan. And we do just that. Peter Mahovlitz wins the face-off, sends it down the ice. There's the shot by Glenn Hicks as he came charging in. Craig had to handle that. Now coming right back down the ice again is Foster. Foster up the right side. Middleton played it in. Jim Korn goes after it. Korn being bothered by Middleton. Middleton took him off the puck. In behind the goal, McNabb. Now Peter McNabb hands it off to Foster. He fanned on the shot, and he was wide open. Foster in behind the goal again. Gives it to Rattel, stopped there by Willie Huber, and now Hicks has it. He's got Polonich open, but he rather wisely just dumped it down the ice. A half a minute left in the penalty. McNabb up the right side. Lalonde handing it back now to Brad Park. Milbury over the line. Casper gives it back to McNabb with a shot wide. Glenn Hicks giving the bump there to Brad Park. Jim Korn, though, failed to work it out, and the shot by Lalonde. Here's Willie Huber. Now Huber lifts it high in the air, and the puck all the way down the ice into the Boston zone, and the penalty is over. And the Bruins came close, but the Wings held them off, and the game remains at 2-2. Puck fired deep into the Detroit end again. Gilbert into the corner for Willie Huber. Now Huber has Nedemansky out at center ice with LeBreton. The pass to Danny LeBreton over the line with a shot, and Craig just did get to that. Made a good move on it. Now Paul Wood sent to the ice. Puck along the boards. Willie Huber holding it in. Drives it in behind the Boston goal again. Redmond fired it out to center ice. Jim Korn didn't play it, and the linesman waved off any icing as Korn will go in behind Gilbert. Now Korn's pass. Nedemansky retrieves it, moves out up the left side. Danny LeBreton got over the line. The play offside. And we near the 14-minute mark of the first period with the game tied at 2-2, and we'll be back in just a moment.
What's the pesky difference that makes the great American brand great? It's in every great American brand product. Deli fresh lunch meats, lean and firm hams, extra lean bacon, smoked sausage and spicy Polska kielbasa, and those bursting with flavor hot dogs. Pesky makes the quality difference you can taste.
Pesky makes the difference that makes great American great.
Pesky Great American brand products have the quality difference you can taste, available at all great Scott markets.
Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel with you from here at the Boston Gardens, where the Detroit Red Wings and the Boston Bruins are tied at 2-2. Melnick dumping the puck into the Detroit zone. Gilbert firing it up on the right side. Reed Larson. Lead pass now to Dale McCourt. McCourt just laying it into the Boston zone. Craig laid it out on the right side, and Morrison goes after it there. Doug Morrison, called up from the minor leagues with injuries to a couple of the regular Boston players, Marcotte and O'Reilly. Play loose at center ice. Finally, Morrison hands it back. Puck went off of Dale McCourt. McCourt takes it back into the Boston zone, fired the shot, and the save made by Craig. In behind his own goal, Larry Melnick turning away from Ogrodnik's check. Now this is Morrison sending it out to Rattel. Coming right back, Reed Larson. Larson winds up at the blue line, goes over the line, then just dumps it in behind the goal. John Ogrodnik in the corner, took a swing at it. Craig fell down in behind the goal, but the Wings couldn't gain control of the puck. Came back down the ice again. Back after it is Barrett. John Barrett, the brother of Minnesota's Fred Barrett, winds up again. Here's young Barrett flipping the shot. Craig handles that. 4 minutes, 45 seconds still to go in the first period. Stan Jonathan starts back. Jonathan playing it to the line. Jean Hamel on for the first time, knocks it down, and Lyle stepped on the puck and went to the ice. Gilbert drops it off for Willie Huber. 4.5 minutes to go here in the first period as Huber played it too far for George Lyle. Out at center ice, McCrimmon takes it. Played to the Detroit line. Jean Hamel turning away from McNabb's check. Too far for Polonich. And Brad McCrimmon sweeps it right back into the Detroit end. Gilbert hands it there to Willie Huber. Now Huber ahead to Lyle. A three-man rush down the right side. Dennis Polonich. Polonich turned around, knocked to the ice at center ice by Foster. Puck then cleared into the Boston zone. That's Stan Jonathan. Lyle bumped him in along the boards. McCrimmon goes after it. Brad McCrimmon ahead now for Redmond. Here's Dick Redmond taking the long shot. Gilbert knocks it down, goes after it himself. Played it up the left side. Errol Thompson and Foster go in along the boards and hold it there. Oh, the face-off stays to the left of the Detroit goal. You are watching Red Wing hockey on WKBD TV 50, your choice for sports in Detroit. Game tied 2-2. Taste the pesky difference in great American brand bursting with flavor hot dogs, extra lean bacon, smoked sausage, and spicy Polska kielbasa, extra lean ham and deli fresh lunch meats, and all available at Great Scott Supermarkets.
And Wayne Maxner's taken advantage of his entire roster. He's playing 4 lines, trying to keep things going. The last few minutes of this game have been played pretty well in center ice. Foster got a little piece of Polonich's leg there, and the fans thought possibly there'd been a penalty called.
Now here's Mal Davis moving out with Hicks. Davis fired the long shot. Craig stopped that. Played it off to the right side to Middleton. He worked it away from Peter Mahovlich, but the puck ends up in the Detroit zone. Reed Larson, a quick pass over 2 lines offside. And there again is this short distance at center ice, which leads to more offsides.
That's so true. This building, or this ice surface, is probably 10 feet shorter, and they cut the center ice zone down because of it. You find it difficult playing here because of that, too, Bruce. You just don't have that room to make the plays coming out of your own zone.
Milbury fires the long shot just wide of the goal. Barrett tipped it along the boards. Hicks and Cashman battled there for it. It came loose. Middleton in after it. Reed Larson tipped it away from him. Larson up the left side for Hicks. Now 3 of the Red Wings move out. Ahead now to Peter Mahovlich over the line. And his pass went off the skate of Brad Park. And Park turns it right back out to center ice for Boston. Bruins clear it into the Detroit zone. Peter Mahovlich into the corner after it. Now Mahovlich laid it along the boards. It comes back out center ice again. Milbury back after it. Mike Milbury turning at his own blue line. With it, Cashman. Intercepted by Danny LeBratton. LeBratton goes back into the Boston zone, dumped it out in front, but nobody there. The Wings changing on the move. Here's Casper coming back now. Casper driving it into the corner. Middleton chasing after it, but Gilbert played it away from him. Danny LeBratton's pass bounced high in the air. Nedemansky and Park battle along the boards. LeBratton gets into the thick of it off, and they get it to the line. Casper held it in, drove a shot, and Gilbert deflected that high into the corner. Puck bounced down the ice. Reed Larson took a heavy bump from Casper. Back at his own blue line is Cashman. They're stepping into one another. Brad Park now. Ahead it comes to Casper, driving it in behind the Detroit goal. Now Gilbert up the left side for Danny LeBratton. Nedemansky, center ice to Paul Woods. Woods lifts it in. Puck goes off to the side of the net. Craig cleared it away. It'll be taken by Dick Redmond ahead to Rattel, and Rattel shoots it back to the Detroit line. Back after it, Nedemansky. Ned plays it now to Paul Woods. He's got LeBratton coming up the left side, but didn't get the pass to him. He flipped it right to the net, and Craig knocked that away. Coming back now, Al Secord. Secord's pass broken up by John Ogrodnik, and Nedemansky has Ogrodnik trailing. Two of them over the line. Ned took the shot, and the save made again by Craig. We have a minute and a half to go in the first period. Score is tied at 2-2. McCrimmon knocked Nedemansky to the ice, and moving back now, Rattel. Pass is broken up, then Rattel picks it up again. He played it off Morrison. Morrison played it to the side of the net. Secord and Jim Korn go after it. Here's Rattel. John Rattel putting it right out in front. It'll be kept at the line. McCrimmon let the shot go. They whistled it down offside. Took them a long time to do it.
I think Detroit got a little bit of a break there. I think he stopped it right on the blue.
Well, it took Kevin Collins, the linesman, quite a while to whistle it down. Well, in our first intermission, just a minute and 11 seconds away, Sid and I'll talk a little bit about what we've seen so far, and then our fan forum. A question asked of a Detroit Red Wing official, and our 1-on-1 series will continue with the Taylor Blades and the Michigan Travelers doing battle. Then the second intermission, we will be listening to the ideas of new coach Wayne Maxson. Harold Thompson came on, and the referee Harris sent him back to the bench. He said something to Harris, and he had a little
yes,
go at it.
You can't talk to these referees. They have complete control out there.
Now this is Reed Larson in behind his own goal. Play intercepted by Jonathan. He played it right out in front, but Ogrodnik takes it off the board. His pass knocked down by Brad Park. Moving in after it, Willie Huber. Three of the Wings over the line. Huber gives it to Foligno with a shot, and he drilled it wide. 50 seconds to go in the period as Dwight Foster turns. Big chance for Foligno. He was just off target. Now Foligno stopped the play inside the Detroit blue line. It comes back to Mike Milbury. At his own blue line again, Milbury. Puck lifted high in the air, right to Gilbert. Gilbert knocks it down into the corner for Harold Thompson. Back to Huber. Up the right side. Foligno just didn't get to it. Jonathan held it in. Foligno sent him to the ice. It came back to the line. 20 seconds in the period. In behind the goal, into the corner. Willie Huber, he played it up the right side again, and Foligno went off his skate. Dale McCourt brings it out to center ice, and Foster takes it again. Now 10 seconds to go in the period. Puck high in the air. Reed Larson in after it. Larson pulling away from McNabb's check. Just a couple of seconds in the game. Here's Foligno, and the play covered two lines again and is offside with a second to go in the period.
And that come off opposed to being a good play by Reed Larson.
Red Wings are offering a great selection of books on hockey at a special price of 3 books for $10. There are books on goaltending, off-ice training, Bobby Orr, Jack Adams, hockey's top scores, and a lot more of them. Any 3 books for $10 on sale at all the Red Wings home games at the Joe Louis Arena. So the puck is dropped and the siren goes to end the first period of play from here at the Boston Gardens in Boston, Massachusetts, with the score, the Detroit Red Wings 2 and the Boston Bruins 2.
Listen, there's a lot to discover on 76 WJR.
J.P. McCarthy, Radio 76 at 8:19 a.m. My winners of the day, you skinny guys. We envy you.
Jimmy Lance, WJR, asking, how come horses never bet on people?
I'm Jim Davis, the afternoon music call, WJR. Looking something to pick this day up.
Listen, there's a lot to discover on 76 WJR.
Little Caesars asked, are you paying for one pizza and only getting one pizza?
And these days, the price of one medium pizza ranges from $4.15 to as high as $7.25.
$7. Take it or leave it.
But only Little Caesars gives you 2 medium pizzas for just $5.65. So you get the good food you want, and better still, you get all you want. Little Caesars. Where else could you get so much good food for so little money?
2 pizzas, 1 price? They must do it with mirrors.
Hey, here are some cool sounds coming at you on a sizzling summer day.
Well, Sid Abel, I would say a pretty fair period of hockey. The Red Wings outshot the Boston Bruins 9-7 in the period, and the period ends tied at 2-2. And there was some good hitting in it.
I would think that we're starting to see the effects of Wayne Maxner behind the bench. He has the team playing position more so than they were. They're taking their checks. They're not being over-aggressive where they're going in deep and getting caught. I don't think there was a case in that period where the Bruins come down and caught the Wings with just one man back. And that means an awful lot to the goaltender. There's one thing they have to be aware of, Bruce. The Bruins are a team that throw the puck in, move in deep, and then try to make the play back out to their points, and then run McNabb and Middleton, or not Middleton so much, but some of the bigger fellows out in front of the net. And it's awful difficult for a goaltender. But the Wings are doing a good job. Young Barrett pushed McNabb out of the position in one play out in front of the net. And it's just little things like this that have been costing the Wings goals. And if they can get away from it, they're going to win hockey games.
Sid, I think one of the bright spots, too, is the fact that Willie Huber has been a goal scorer for a defenseman in the seasons he's played. A short career in the National Hockey League. He hadn't had a goal in the 22 games up to now. He finally got that one on the power play. It had to feel good, and I kind of hope it opens things up a little bit. Now, if we can let's get Dale McCourt going again, because Dale scored 4 goals in 4 games, and then I figured today he had 2 in his last 18, none in his last 9, and that's not Dale McCourt. So I kind of like to see him get things going again. I know we've mentioned it a couple of times, and Netamansky and Danny LeBratton still looking for his first goal. So you kind of feel that something's got to get going.
Well, Bruce, you know, we had 5 or 6 30-goal scorers, and when you stop and think, Danny LeBratton goes up and down. I think he can skate as well as anybody in the league. He does get his licks at the net, but here it is. He hasn't scored a goal in the first 23 games. There were a few games that he didn't play that much, but he still gets chances. They've got to count for some fellows scoring goals, because Detroit right now, of the 21 teams in the National League, Detroit have scored the fewest number of goals of all 21 teams, and that's hard to believe when last year they come off a season that had 6 30-goal scorers.
And the fellows that you really didn't expect to score the goals are leading the Red Wings in goals scored. John Ogrodnik and George Lyle, and Mike Foligno. I think Lyle and Errol Thompson has 9. But we're still waiting, and so too are the Red Wings and the players themselves, for the McCourts and the Netamanskys and the LeBrattons to really find the range and get things going. So the Red Wings and the Boston Bruins, after 1 period of play, are at a 2-2 tie. Now it's time for one of our regular intermission features, our fan forum. So right now we're going to check and see just exactly what the question for today's recipient is.
This is Fan Forum, a chance for Red Wing fans to ask the questions. Now, here's Al Blade.
Here on Fan Forum, we are talking to Kathleen Forcinos. And Kathleen, I understand you've been a little Red Wings fan for a lot of years.
Quite a few years, more than I care to remember.
Do you go to very many games on the road?
About 2, 3 a year.
Tell me some of the cities that you visited and compare them to the city of Detroit.
I think I like St. Louis quite a bit. I think I like the arena. That's about all I could say about a road trip.
What do you like most about hockey?
About hockey, the action. It's fast, it's quick, exciting.
Kathleen, who do you have a question for?
I have a question for Lefty. I understand that he once played in goal for the New York Rangers, and I'd like to know how it came about and what the score was, and did they score against him?
Okay, Kathleen, along with Lefty Wilson, will be with us after the second period of hockey.
Come, drive in the 4th dimension. Experience the 4-wheel drive edge of the American Eagle. Feel our four wheels bite into bone-dry pavement, slice through rain, eat up snow. The American Eagle takes your family with confidence where it's never been before. And introducing an all-new Eagle with high gas mileage and a list price starting at $59.95. Experience driving in the fourth dimension with the American Eagles from American Motors.
This is the day for flying. We'll send it to the sky. Don't let it fall now. Give it our all now. Gonna sail it high. It's so hard, but when the hard part's through, that's when we go for something easy like A&W. Nothing so smooth and easy as A&W. Nothing so smooth and easy as A&W.
This is one-on-one. Amateur athletes competing against each other head-to-head. Now, here's Bruce and Sid.
And we say hi again. The Joe Louis Arena is actually the site for the videotaping of these contests, which we've been having a good time with. And we look forward to another great one-on-one contest today as the series continues along. And very quickly, to repeat the rules for you, as one-on-one would indicate, it's out of the midget area teams, 13, 14, 15, 16 years of age. We take a shooter and a goaltender from each team, and if the shooter scores on the goaltender, the opponent, in other words, it's a point for that team. If the goaltender makes the save, it is indeed a point for his team. The team must have 5 points to win and must win by 2. A shot that doesn't go on the net, in other words, is not stopped by the goaltender, is just no point, and they redo it. We've had good success thus far, and let's see what happens today. We'll meet our teams right now. The Taylor Blades. In goal will be Floyd Wagner. He's 14 years of age, out of Dearborn, and our youngest member so far is Mark Boyk, who is 13, another Dearborn. He'll be the shooter for Taylor Blades.
He must have something on the ball to be picked as a 13-year-old.
And this is his first year, is it not?
Right, first year in Bantam.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be, as I mentioned, midget teams, so we have more than midget teams. We have the Bantams and what have you. Well, the opposition today for Taylor will be the Michigan Travelers, and we'll have Dan Stefanich in goal, and a famous hockey name, Jeff Sawchuk, out of Berkeley, Michigan, will be the shooter for the Michigan Travelers.
Switched around a little bit, Bruce. Sawchuk should be the goaltender, but he's not.
So we started out with Sawchuk moving in, firing a shot that beats Taylor's Floyd Wagner, and the Michigan Travelers move out to a quick 1-0 lead. So it'll be up now to Mark Boyk to see what he can do against Stefanich.
Here's the 13-year-old going in, and Stefanich come out and covered the angle, went back in, just coasted back in, made a fine save on a shot right along the ice.
So it is quickly 2-0 for the Michigan Travelers.
Here goes Sawchuk again, Jeff Sawchuk, 16-year-old.
Oh, he was stopped. Good move this time on the part of goaltender Floyd Wagner, making it now 2-1. And Mark Boyk will see what he can do against Stefanich, the 13-year-older. Took his shot, but Stefanich makes the save, and that gives the Michigan Travelers now a 3-1 lead.
Mark started skating. Young Mark Boyk started skating when he was 8 years old. He's played, or 6 years old, I should say.
Here's Sawchuk going in again. Sawchuk made the move, a neat one that time. Pulled the goaltender Wagner out of position, and he gives the Michigan Travelers a 4-1 lead.
Oh, this is a fine play.
A good little move.
He goes in and he fakes a shot and then just pulls off, and watch him now pull off to his right and make a little backhand shot. Beats the goaltender cleanly. There he goes over. There's no doubt about this one.
And we're back live very quickly, and the shot fired by Mark Boyk is stopped by Stefanich, so that'll do it. And we've been going in kind of a hurry. Some time ago, we had like 8-6 scores and 7-5s, what have you, but the Michigan Travelers very quickly wrap it up today with their victory over the Taylor Blades, 5-1, and go into the next bracket. We'll be taking another look at them in a future telecast. So that takes care of today's one-on-one.
This has been One-on-One, brought to you by your Metro AMC Jeep and Renault dealer. Come in for a test drive today.
The legendary Jeep CJ. You always knew it could take you here in style. But did you ever think it could take you here in style? Or that it could give you the luxury and comfort of soft bucket seats, room for 4, air conditioning, stereo? And did you know that Jeep CJ has the highest gas mileage of any four-wheeler built in America? 1981 Jeep CJ. Now you know why the legend lives on. From Jeep Corporation of American Motors.
There's a fine white wine that's great with America's favorite foods. Crisp, light, delightfully dry. Its European charm goes with seafood and Sausalito or Texas beef. New Orleans Creole or Southern fried. Blue Nun, the delicious imported premium white wine.
Blue Nun goes anytime, any place with anything. Blue Nun goes everywhere. Blue Nun.
Now, you can order Red Wing souvenirs and gift items by mail. Choose from a wide variety of distinctive souvenirs. Over 200 items ranging from keychains to jerseys, T-shirts, pennants, hats, baseball caps, plus Red Wing jackets with crest in sizes to fit both boys and fathers. They're great for gift giving or for yourself. For a free brochure, call the Red Wings at 963-8400 or write Detroit Red Wings, 600 Civic Center Drive, Detroit 48226. Call 963-8400. The Red Wings are now offering a great selection of books on hockey at a special holiday price of 3 for $10. Books on goaltending, Bobby Orr, Jack Adams, and many, many more. Any 3 for $10 on sale at all Red Wing home games. Guests on Red Wing hockey receive a gift from Zales, the Diamond Store, a quartz watch from Seiko who feature dress and sporty watches. Seiko, someday all watches will be made this way. Featured at Zales, the Diamond Store. Thursday, December 4th is free puck night with the Red Wings. The first 7,000 youngsters 16 and under will receive a free puck, compliments of Coca-Cola and the Red Wings. That's Thursday, December 4th, Red Wings Coca-Cola Puck Night.
Some of our guests on these Red Wing hockey telecasts receive a gift from JVC, a portable 2-inch black and white TV, AM/FM radio combination unit. JVC engineering wizardry plus 4-way power adaptability make the Twinch a real winner at home or on the road. Another quality home entertainment product from JVC. I wish you'd have me as a guest sometime, Sid. I like one of those.
Yes, it sounds very, very nice.
Well, in the first period, as we mentioned, with Gilles Gilbert in the Detroit goal and Jim Craig, the former Olympic star, in the nets for the Boston Bruins, the Red Wings outshot Boston 9-7 in a very evenly played period, a period that saw the Red Wings have 2 power play opportunities and score in the second of the 2. And with Errol Thompson off, the Red Wings held the Boston Bruins off the board, though they did threaten. Jonathan opened the scoring at 1:42 of the period from Foster and McNabb. Then Reed Larson got it back as Peter Mahovlich fed the pass out to the blue line, and Larson let go of that patented Reed Larson shot. It was kind of fun to see again. For his 6th goal of the year, Mahovlich drew the only assist. Then it was Dick Redmond that lifted the puck just under the crossbar as Casper, the rookie, drew the only assist on Redmond's 5th of the year at 7:57. And with Peter McNabb in the penalty box, Dale McCourt fed a perfect pass out to Willie Huber, who fired it just inside the goalpost, and McCourt and Ogrodnik assisted on Huber's 1st goal of the year at 10:05. And so we have a 2-2 tie.
And I would think, Bruce, that the Wings should shoot the puck at Craig every opportunity they get, because I would believe that the fans here seem to give him a little cheer every once in a while. He fell on one occasion. He went behind the net. He handled a shot from center ice very, very carelessly about midway through the period. And I would think that school is maybe still out on Jim Craig as to just how good a goaltender he is, although he has not lost a game in his last 5. On the 1st goal, Larson's shot was a terrific shot from the blue line. You would think possibly that the goaltender would draw the angle. He was not screened on the shot at all. He came out to the edge of his crease, but Larson caught inside the post on him. And I would think Wayne Maxner would maybe be telling his players, hey, let's shoot the puck at this fellow and make him handle the puck a while and just see what he'll do with it.
It would have been fun, and I would have looked forward to it, to have seen Rogie Vachon in the goal for Boston with Jules Gilbert in the Detroit net. It's always fun to see 2 players who have been traded face one another.
I would think the fans would have liked to see that tonight. We thought possibly the first game in Detroit we would see that combination, but we didn't.
Jerry Cheevers has, in the last several games, and quite successfully, been rotating his goaltenders. Now, Maxner, Wayne Maxner, if you will, had announced that he was going to do that, but Gilbert did play the game against the Islanders.
And played well.
Saturday night.
Even though it was a 5-1 score, the goaltending wasn't the reason for the 5-1 score.
So we are set to go with the second period with the game tied at 2-2. Both teams are at full strength. The Red Wings return home after a rather long road trip. They played only 2 games, but they stayed on the road from last Tuesday. No, I'm sorry, last
Thursday.
Friday.
Well, we left Thursday.
Friday.
We left, oh boy, it seems though we've been gone 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's the day after Thanksgiving. And played the game Saturday in New York, and then this one here tonight, Tuesday night. Now the Bruins in their own zone. Peter Mahovlich and Cashman in along the boards. Puck came out to center ice. Mel Davis, number 19, tied up Casper. Here's Mahovlich trying to work out in front, and he was checked as Milbury came back, knocked it away. Casper drills it off the glass. Middleton goes in along the boards after it. He and Davis fight there for it. That puck is loose. Cashman. Reed Larson tied him up. Middleton digging away at it now. It's held to the boards a second time. Now Middleton got it loose. Skates right off to the side of the net, and Gilbert knocked it away from him. Coming right back, Larson, 3 of the wings. Larson ahead to Peter Mahovlich. Peter Mahovlich stick handling and then just dumped it in toward the corner. Going in after it, Davis sent it into the opposite corner and put right out in front by Hicks, but the Wings just didn't get to it. And the goaltender is going to ice it this time. Back after it, Larson, and the play will come right back into the Boston end as Craig himself shot at the length of the ice.
Yep.
And we'll be back after we pause now for this message.
Little Caesars asks, are you paying for 1 pizza and only getting 1 pizza? Somehow it happens. When you buy 1 pizza, the last slice always goes wanting, no matter how much everyone wants it. But it won't happen at Little Caesars, because only Little Caesars has the famous pizza. So everyone gets the good food they want, made with Little Caesars' finest meats, cheeses, and flours. And better still, they get all they want. Little Caesars. Where else can you get so much good food for so little money? Pizza. It means never having to say you're hungry.
Good pizza.
If there's ever a case, Bruce, where the Wings have to have 2 hands on the stick, it's when the corners, and there's a case where Middleton just walks out of the corner with the puck. And Gilbert had to make a sliding save on him as he was unmolested coming out of the corner.
Peter McNabb and Dale McCourt against one another. The Bruins come up with a draw. Redmond laid it back to the line. It was held in there for the moment, then Korn lost it. Here's McNabb bringing it back into the Detroit end with a shot. Sailed it over the top of the goal. Mike Foligno in along the boards after it. Foster really ran into him. The puck bouncing around. McNabb got it loose, but Foligno comes up with it. Gives it now to Jim Korn. Korn dumps it down the ice. It goes in behind the Boston goal into the corner. Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon checked there by Foligno. Foligno got it loose. A centering pass by Dale McCourt, but all tied up for the Wings. And coming right back, Jonathan, as he pulled away from Korn, over the line with a shot, and he fired that wide. Now Foligno, who's lost his helmet, cleared it out to center ice. Came back to the line. Redmond hands it there to McCrimmon. Now McCrimmon up to McNabb. Play went to the Boston blue line. They're kicking away at it. Up on the right side, over the line, McNabb. He was stopped there by Ogrodny. Korn banned on it the first time. Now dumped it along the boards, and Ogrodny has it. Korn and McNabb go to the ice. Puck just lifted out to center ice by Ogrodny, and there'll be an icing call, this time against Detroit. And the play will come back into the Red Wing end. We have played now 2 minutes and 11 seconds of the second period. The game is tied at 2-2.
One thing this Boston club will do, they will try and run over you. They're not by any means a fancy down hockey club. They just grind and grind and grind, hoping that you will eventually make mistakes. They're probably a team that throws the puck in the zone and moves into the corners more than any other team in the National League.
Puck came back to the line. Gary Doak fired that shot. Gilbert holds onto it with Morrison right there on the doorstep. Saturday night at 8 o'clock, Charles Dickens' Christmas classic, Scrooge, right here on TV 50.
Here's a case where little melee, it comes back out to the point, a shot from the point. Gilbert handled it cleanly.
Again, the referee refused to allow Peter Mahovlich to come on to take the face-off. So George Lyle goes in. It came back to the line. Gary Doak this time played it in behind the goal into the corner as Morrison. Played it up along the boards. Dennis Polonich took a swipe at it, didn't get it out. Larry Melnick off the side of the goal. In behind the net is Secord. Secord handed it to Rattel. He's tied up there by George Lyle, and it's pulled away by Barrett. John Barrett ahead now to Errol Thompson. Now he's got Lyle on the move with Polonich. Puck dumped into the Boston zone. Here's Polonich going in after it in behind the goal. Dennis Polonich still giving chase to it. Gave it to Errol Thompson, but it's taken away by Morrison. Now Doug Morrison right back down the ice. Fired a shot, and Gilbert just got a piece of it. Juggled it, but it was knocked away. A chance now for Larry Melnick with a shot. The save made by Gilbert. Coming right back, Polonich. Dennis Polonich on the move. Got over the line, and the puck knocked right back out center ice. Larson had to wait for his team to come back onside. Now Dennis Polonich and Secord are going at it. Secord came in and Polonich right in front of the Detroit bench. I kind of wondered how long it would take them to go after Dennis Polonich.
I thought that too before the game started. I figured, well, they would have Dennis Polonich singled out to see what they could do.
You know, there were some unfair comments made in Detroit, Sid, during the thing, because we looked at the replay of that battle between Ray Bourque and Polonich, and Bourque actually started the fight through the first punch. And then when Polonich won the battle, when Bourque suffered the broken jaw, there was a lot of commentary.
Bruce and I mentioned this. Polonich, on his first swing after Bourque had hit him in Detroit, his first swing hit Bourque right on the button, and that was it.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment.
How do you make strong, long-lasting parts for the cars of the 80s? Higher strength steels from National Steel. How can you get weight out of cars without cutting strength? Diet steels from National Steel. How do you fight rust? Pre-coated fighting steels from National Steel. Higher strength steel, diet steel, corrosion fighting steel for the cars of the 80s. From National Steel, where you get answers, not just steel.
Back to the action now, the offsetting penalties. Here's Paul Woods. He and LeBratton over the line. Danny LeBratton looking. LeBratton's pass skipped off to the side of the net. Mike Milbury goes in after it. Milbury handing it now to Brad Park. Here's Park clearing it out center ice. Casper moves with it up on the right side. LeBratton just did tip it away from Middleton. The two of them go after it. Puck came right out in front, but it's taken away. Nedemansky ahead to Paul Woods. Back it comes to Nedemansky. He turned away from Cashman's check, back in his own line with a pass to Jean Hamel. Hamel threw it back into his own zone. Willie Huber back after it. Now Jean Hamel. Hamel off the boards. That was too far. LeBratton chasing it. Brad Park has him tied up. It'll be played by Milbury. Now Milbury starts out of his own zone. Center ice pass to Casper over the line. Here's Middleton, tried to hand it back. Cashman took a swing at it. It goes to the corner. A penalty coming up to Detroit. Well, Secord and Polonich picked up 2 minutes apiece for high sticking and 5 for fighting at 3:09.
Cashman now and Willie Huber are having words. I don't think anything will start. There is a penalty here. This play all developed right at the Boston blue line as the play was coming out. Willie Huber moved in. I'm sure that he felt that he was going to be able to level someone as they come out over the zone, but Park made a real good pass up through the middle, and first thing you know, it was the first time where a defenseman was really out of position. And Paul Woods is the one that got nailed for the penalty. He walked over, skated over to try and get a hold of Steve Casper. There's Paul on a penalty box with the scrape on his nose alongside of Dennis Polonich.
Now that hooking call was almost an exact play that came down the ice a moment or so ago, and there's Jerry Cheevers behind the Boston bench when the Detroit player, Brad Park, had him all tied up and Thompson couldn't pull loose. Now the play goes in behind the Detroit net. Reed Larson swings it the length of the ice. Dale McCord and Glenn Hicks up as penalty killers, and Craig misplayed that right off in front of his own goal.
He just about played it right back into his net.
Coming back now, Brad Park. Up to Middleton. Up on the left side, Peter McNabb, and Reed Larson went in, chased him off the puck. They go in along the boards. Here's Rattel dragging it loose. Back on the line to Dwight Foster. Foster hands it back to Rattel. Now Rattel's pass into the corner for McNabb. Back on the blue line, held in there by Brad Park. Now McNabb is open, played it to Rattel right out in front. Rattel missed the pass from Middleton. Foster again at the blue line. Here's Park with a shot, knocked away out in front. And the rebound fired down the ice. And 1:10 left in the penalty to Paul Woods. Brad Park moving it back out center ice with the extra man, the Bruins, over the line, Rattel. Rattel knocked down, but he still made the play. Here's Brad Park. Foster moving in, and came out and stopped him. A big save by Gilbert, and the puck fired the length of the ice. Well, the Red Wings almost had a break down the ice. Instead, it was 2-on-1 Boston. Brad Park again with 40 seconds left in the penalty. Middleton back into the Detroit zone. Rick Middleton put it right out in front, and it was Reed Larson that stopped that. Harold Thompson cleared it to the line, not out. Here's Foster. And the play broken up, and Peter Mahovlich goes after it. Mahovlich, and he's got Thompson coming up with him. Here's Mahovlich cutting in. Took the shot, and Craig came out of the net and stopped him.
Oh, boy, Peter could have pulled out in front of the net on this shot. He came in on a bad angle. He wasn't going to be checked by anybody that was trying to get back in the play. The bad thing about this, he had to go over to the boards to get it, but he was in the clear, and he had an opportunity to come right out in front of the net. You can see the Boston player trying to get back fell, but he stayed on a difficult angle. Craig just held his ground, and Peter put it in to his feet. Didn't get enough steam on it to put it through.
21 seconds left in the Woods penalty. We near the 6-minute mark of the second period. The game tied at 2-2. Now Mahovlich won the draw. Jim Korn lost it, taken away from him, and down the ice is Lalonde. Here's Lalonde cutting in on the Detroit goal. Korn came back to cover up, and Lalonde is down and behind the Detroit goal. Puck came back to McCrimmon at the blue line with a shot. Gilbert grabs that, and the play will stay in the Detroit end. And Jim Korn, I guess, learns game by game.
And Lalonde just about gets away. Big Jim Korn giving chase, and you can notice the stick in the one hand. Korn gets under Lalonde's stick. Lalonde is the smallest player in the league. Jim Korn is very fortunate in this play that he didn't pick up a penalty. Lalonde went tumbling into the boards, back head first, but the play was not whistled down for a penalty, and Detroit still playing a man short, puck deep in their own zone.
Korn was really undecided what to do with the puck at the blue line. He didn't know whether to shoot it or pass it. And while he was thinking it over, Lalonde poked it loose. Now just a couple seconds left in the penalty. Redmond stopped it at the blue line. It went off Lalonde. Dale McCourt took a swing at it, didn't get it out. It bounced out in front. The penalty's over. Paul Woods is on. Here's McCourt. Got Woods coming with him. Ogrodnik was really dumped at center ice. Woods the shot. Paul Woods, or rather McCourt. And then Woods got in on the rebound, went over the goaltender. Craig very slow getting up. Jonathan dumping it deep into the Detroit end, and now the referee letting him go. Playing in behind the Detroit net. Miller gets into it. Into the corner after it, McCourt. Dale McCourt knocked to the ice, actually fell down, and the puck held there, and the face-off will be to the right of the Detroit net. And the action furious. The game remains 2-2, and we'll be back in a moment.
It's a lonely kind of job, riding fences, but it's a job that's got to be done. So you get it done right. And then you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name. Push. Head for Busch beer. Head for the mountains. Head for...
Dale McCourt moving into the top of the circle, taking a shot. Paul Woods going in to pick up the rebound. Had to go... Got a little piece of the puck, but Craig beat him, and he went over Craig's body. Lost his stick.
Craig juggled McCourt's shot just a little bit.
Craig shook himself up a little bit. He was flexing his leg as though he maybe hurt his knee a little bit.
Now Cashman handed it back. There's a shot deflected out in front. Ogrodnik has Foligno on the move, but he carries it. And he tipped it back into the Boston zone. Craig out of the net, handing it to his defenseman Melnick. Ogrodnik trying to get to it. Cashman steers it out, though, and here's Casper. Up on the right side, Morrison took the shot, and Gilbert has that grab. He holds on to it, face off to the left of the Detroit goal.
I imagine Gilbert would be happy to see them shoot from that distance all the time. Shooting from about 45, 50 feet out. The goaltenders like them shooting from that area. He just come out at the edge of his crease and made the save.
In our second intermission, Lefty Wilson will be on hand to answer the question asked with our fan forum, the first intermission, and Wayne Maxner will be the subject of a lengthy interview.
With Lefty talking, I would imagine he will take most of the intermission.
Right from the face-off, Morrison is stopped, and a good save by Gilbert. Here's Nedemansky. He fired that one. The save made. Out in front, Paul Woods, and his shot deflected away. And Danny LeBratton really spilled out in front of the goal. And the puck comes to the blue line. There is a penalty coming up, but I think it's going to be against Detroit. Woods is going back in. Danny LeBratton was really upended.
Yes, Gary Doak should have received a penalty for what he did to LeBratton. But what a play Paul Woods made. What a save Craig made.
And so Detroit again will play short a man, and we'll be back in just a moment.
What's the pesky difference that makes the great American brand great? Well, take those great American brand lunch meats, carefully prepared by the chefs at Peschke, to give you that fresh, meaty, delicious delicatessen flavor. And that's the quality difference. Deli fresh, great American brand lunch meats from Peschke.
Peschke makes the difference that makes great American great.
Treat your family with Deli Fresh Great American Lunch Meats from your nearby Great Scott Supermarket.
Well, referee Ron Harris caught one and missed the other. So Paul Woods is off for tripping at 7 minutes and 19 seconds.
And how often do you see Danny LeBret go to a referee questioning what happened to him? Gary Doak just chopped him down, but he wasn't paying any attention to that at all. He caught Paul Woods. After Paul had made a fine play, he caught Paul Woods tripping his player.
So Woods for tripping at 7:19. Reed Larson fired that one, grabbed off by Craig. Now Brad Park in behind his own goal. The Wings have had 5 penalties and Boston 4 now. Here in the period, the Bruins have had 2 power plays, the Wings 1. In behind his own goal, Reed Larson. And it's sent out to center ice by Dale McCourt. Going after it is Hicks, and he just failed to get to it. Parks covered up. And had it been anybody but Parks, Hicks might have been in his way. Pass knocked away, came right back to Foster. Foster faked the shot, handed it back to Park. Park let it come to center ice, and here's Hicks. Hicks going after the loose puck, and coming out of the net, Craig played it away from him as it went off Hicks' skate, and he just couldn't control it, or he'd have been on his way. Now coming back in wide open is Middleton, and he just couldn't get to the pass. Brad Park. Park handed it off to Rattel. It went off his skate. And Gilbert hands it off, and McCourt didn't get it out. Held in by Brad Park again. McCourt broke his stick. Here's Park with it. It went off the skate of McCourt, came back to Foster. He let the shot go, the save made, and Gilbert is covered up on his own rebound.
Well, what a break against Glenn Hicks. He would have been away from his own blue line, but the puck hit his foot, bounced too far in front, and Craig come way out to the blue line to clear it.
The latest news, weather, and sports at a more convenient time. TV 50's independent network news immediately following Red Wing hockey.
Well, this Boston club put a lot of experience out there in the power play, but they made a lot of mistakes with the puck in deep. Park and them fooling around with the puck too much. Foster goes to shoot it here and can't get a hold of it. And finally, when he does shoot it, Gilbert made the save and jumped on the rebound.
Now Peter Mahovlich in against Rattel. John Amell goes chasing after the puck, but it's held there by Middleton. Middleton trying to center it. It was knocked away. Comes back to the line from Middleton now. Brad Park hands it back to him. Rick Middleton out now. It's knocked away by Willie Huber, who made a good move on it. And Huber slides it down the ice, right to the net. And 35 seconds remaining, and Paul Woods' second straight penalty. Brad Park in behind his own goal. Park being checked there by Errol Thompson. Works it ahead for Rattel. John Rattel. Redmond up on the left side, Peter McNabb, and Huber back after that. He did get it out. He worked it by McNabb, or rather by Middleton, and down the ice it goes. 15 seconds left in Woods' penalty. Now here's Middleton again. Rick Middleton at his own blue line, coming out center ice. Game tied at 2-2. Middleton's pass. Jonathan goes chasing after it. Stan Jonathan back to the line now for Brad Park with a shot, and that's deflected off the side. Penalty's over. Woods is back on. Here's Errol Thompson. Thompson's pass went off a skate. He picks it up himself, gives it now to Huber. He took the long shot wide of the goal. And Bob Miller picks it up and starts back. Drops it off for Brad Park. Park's pass tipped away by Willie Huber. Huber gives it there to John Hamel. Now it's tipped out center ice. Hamel and the Boston player Miller deep inside the Detroit zone, so that play is about 20 feet offside. The Joe Louis Arena has 4 beautifully decorated areas to accommodate all of your special needs for banquets, business meetings, wedding receptions, fundraisers, and fashion shows for parties of 50 to 750. You call the Joe Louis Arena at 963-4851. We are nearing the midpoint of the second period. The game is tied at 2-2, all 4 goals in the first period. Mike Milbury dropping it back now. McCrimmon, Brad McCrimmon shooting it into the Detroit zone. Gilbert giving it there to Reed Larson, turned around by Jonathan. Larson plays it up the right wing. Foligno had trouble with it. Came back to Larson, ahead now to Barrett. John Barrett starts Dale McCourt out. Now McCourt driving it into the corner. Craig played it away from Foligno. It's bouncing to Jonathan. He and Reed Larson bump. Now Jonathan and Larson are going to go at it. And the two of them right there as Larson went to a knee, gets back up in a hurry. Reed, Larson, and Jonathan. Now Jonathan drives Larson down on the ice, and the two linesmen move into it very quickly. Swede Knox and Kevin Collins, the linesman, as the rest of the team, have to line up to watch it all. Well, this broke out right along the boards. Reed, Larson, and Jonathan. Larson still trying to get at Jonathan. But the linesman Knox has him pretty well tied up.
There's two pretty strong boys trying to get at one another. Larson's trying to upset the linesman, everyone on the ice right now. I don't know really what started this. They came together along the boards. Nobody was hurt. It was a wrestling match, but I'm sure that Reed Larson went back away from Stan Jonathan, and Jonathan is supposed to be one of the policemen for this hockey club, Boston Hockey Club.
And meanwhile, the penalties to Secord and Polonich are over. So two new ones move in, and we'll be back with more of the action after this.
The Renault Revolution has begun.
Renault 18i.
Introducing the front-wheel drive performance machine that matches BMW in acceleration, but beats its price by $4,000. The Bosch fuel-injected family sedan that beats the gas mileage of Toyota Celica. Renault 18i. At more dealers than any other European car.
Renault 18i.
Renault. More than just economy. At American Motors.
Stan Jonathan sitting in the penalty box, and there's Reed Larson just relaxing right now, too. But this play started along the boards. Nothing appeared that serious, and they wind up getting 2 and 5, 7 minutes apiece. The referee is really handing out the penalties when there is a little scrape.
He handed it to Jonathan for elbowing, Larson for roughing, then gave him each 5 minutes more for fighting. Now Paul Woods sets up Jim Korn with a shot. And that's knocked away by Craig. Korn held it in, but not for long. Comes out center ice, and Jim Korn has it there. Willie Huber. Now Nedemansky ahead to Paul Woods. He shot it into the Boston zone. McCannon played it ahead, and here's Miller coming out with it. Dumped in behind the Detroit goal. Gilbert plays it there. Lost his stick, picked it up in a hurry. Gives it to Danny LeBreton. He slings it across to Willie Huber. 7 minutes in penalty time to Larson and Jonathan. Now here's Danny LeBreton. Going into the corner, playing it back to the line. Handed there to Willie Huber. A chance for Nedemansky with a shot, and Craig came out and knocked that away. Played up the left side to Secord. At center ice, Lalonde. Now Lalonde scoops it deep into the Detroit zone. Huber goes in after it. Plays it up the right side for Paul Woods. Woods handed it now to Nedemansky. Nedemansky had to pull up as LeBreton was shoved in ahead of the play. He drops it off for Korn. Jim Korn was stopped right there. The puck loose. Korn is down on the ice. Glenn Hicks took a kick at it, driven right back into the Detroit end by Korn. And Gilbert sweeps it up the right side. Mal Davis. Davis fanned on it the first time, goes back after it. Gives it now to Korn. It comes out center ice, and Gary Doak takes it. Here moving in now. That's a shot fired wide of the Detroit goal by Casper. Out in front of the Detroit net, Willie Huber. Huber starts back. Laid it up on the right side. Mal Davis over the line. His pass was tipped away from Hicks. Hicks still drove it in behind the goal. Going in after it, number 33, Larry Melnick, didn't get it out. Barrett held it in. Peter Mahovlich handing it back on the line to Mal Davis. Davis flipped a shot. It went wide of the goal. They take a whack at it. Mahovlich will hold it in. Peter Mahovlich playing it in behind the goal again. Craig leaves it there for Gary Doak. Doak played it along the boards. It comes out center ice. Mal Davis tipped it there, and Glenn Hicks has it. Now Hicks with the golden hair skates back over the line. Missed a check from Morrison. It goes in behind the Boston net. Played along the boards. Cashman stopped right there by Mahovlich. He's got Hicks loose. Hicks took the shot, and Craig had to kick that away, and Mahovlich holds it in. And the Red Wings are pressing. In behind his own goal now is Casper. Steve Casper lost it there. Mahovlich knocked it away. Here's Barrett with it. Now there's going to be another penalty coming up, and it's Hicks and Morrison right out in front of the goal.
These are two players that will know one another. Look at Hicks.
Oh, Hicks can handle himself.
They both have just recently come up from the American League, and they had a little run at one another just a moment ago, Bruce, and I wondered about that. Both playing the American League, and in the last, say, 10 days or 2 weeks.
The referee was already calling a penalty. And then the fight broke out. Whether he was going to send both of them off anyway, we'll wait to see. This all comes up at 12 minutes and 48 seconds. So we've had the action going tonight.
This line of Hicks, Davis, and Mahavlich for a minute and a half shift have kept the Bruins bottled in their own zone, and Hicks got away a real good wrist shot from about 20 feet, 22 feet out of the net, out in front of the net. Craig had to make a big save on him. There's Glenn sitting in the penalty box. He has played very well since being recalled. Not that big a boy, but he can skate, and he will take a check, and I will think he will score goals. He was having a real fine season with Wayne Maxner down in Adirondack.
I think referee Ron Harris has kind of taken Coward's way out. Somebody has to start them sometimes. That he had Jonathan for elbowing and then gave Larson for roughing. Now he's got Morrison for cross-checking and Hicks for high sticking, and then gives him another 5 minutes for fighting. So again, neither team will be short-handed. Now here's Milbury playing it back into the Detroit zone. Jim Korn goes in along the boards of Secord. The puck loose, sent back to Milbury at the blue line. Milbury played it back into the corner. Korn being checked there by Secord. Korn takes Secord off the puck. And now there's going to be a penalty coming up to Secord as he took a rap at Korn in behind the Detroit goal.
Well, Secord took his free hand and got it up and tried to twist Korn by grabbing him up head high and got caught. I don't want to sound critical of Jimmy Korn, but Jim Korn has to learn how to put two hands on his hockey stick. He goes in the corner and they twist him around. He's a big boy. No doubt is going to be a fine National Hockey League player somewhere along the line, but he's got a habit of one hand on the stick. And they twist him around and get him off balance fairly easy.
Secord is off for roughing at 13 minutes and 6 seconds. That evens the penalties at 9 aside now. And Detroit has 2 men in the penalty box, and Boston has 3. Detroit has the extra man. Here's Brad Park moving back into his own zone, firing it right into the Detroit bench. Just missed Paul Woods.
Paul Woods has been hit enough.
Yeah, he doesn't need it
as of late. He couldn't play in Long Island the other night because of a real bad groin injury. Got his nose scraped on the very first shift here tonight.
So it is Dale McCourt now. He goes in against Bob Miller. Off to the left of the Boston goal. Well, Miller is waved out of the face-off circle. So Lalonde moves in. Mike Foligno tied up his man, but Lalonde got to the puck and fired it by Huber down the ice. Gilbert leaves it there. Netamansky is out on the other point now. Netamansky plays it up the right side for Dale McCourt. McCourt handed it back to Big Ned. Here comes Netamansky out center ice. Netamansky up the left side to John Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik around Park. In behind the Boston goal. Handed it back to Dale McCourt. Now McCourt. McCourt into the circle. Oh, put it right on the stick of Lalonde. And Bobby Lalonde slowly skates it back out center ice and shoots it into the Detroit end, and Netamansky goes back after it. A minute 15 left in the penalty. Wings with the extra man. Mike Foligno out now at center ice. Here's Foligno. His pass too far out in front of Dale McCourt, and it's whipped right back into the Detroit end again, and back after it Netamansky. About a minute left in the penalty. Willie Huber. Now Huber starts out. McCourt over the line. That's as far as he got. Brad Park broke that up. Netamansky swings it off to Foligno. Mike Foligno back in. His shot hit the player McCrimmon. Foligno goes in after it. Fanned on it. It goes in along the boards. Dug away by Brad McCrimmon. And now Middleton. Middleton was checked there by Netamansky. Getting into it is John Ogrodnik. That puck loose, and it's Brad Park with it, and Park shoots it down the ice. And a little more than half a minute left in the penalty to Secord. Willie Huber. Now Huber gives it to Jim Korn. Here's Korn, a one-man rush over the line, and Brad Park stopped him. Then it's kept in by Ogrodnik. Jim Korn, he's got a man loose in front. Here's Dale McCourt with a shot. Hit the goaltender. Puck came back to the line. Huber holds it in at the right point. Took the shot. It was knocked down out in front. Coming back with it. Puck driven back to the Detroit line. Korn has to hurry, being chased by Middleton. Now Korn held in along the boards. Penalty is over. And the Bruins now back at full strength as Secord comes back on. Dale McCourt turning away from Cashman's check. And Ogrodnik just dumps it deep into the Boston zone. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Falling down was McCrimmon, but Cashman came in and held that out. Now Polonich knocked it away. Going into the corner after it. Errol Thompson. Thompson's pass broken up. Dick Redmond has it taken away by Thompson with a shot. A loose puck out in front, and they just couldn't find the handle on it. Now George Lyle's centering pass was knocked down by Steve Casper. And the play finally whistled down as it came back into the Boston end offside.
Let me tell you, Errol Thompson and George Lyle both had an excellent chance. Redmond lost the puck. Thompson tried his backhand shot. The puck was sitting out between Lyle and Thompson, and they couldn't seem to find the handle. Excellent chance to go ahead in this hockey game.
So the play will come out over the Boston line.
We had a nice young lady. Bruce stopped down, wanted to say hi to her mom and dad, to Nancy and Doc Ream back in Detroit. Julie is probably going to school here. Stopped in to say hello.
Now Casper and Mahovlich. Puck came back to Milbury. Milbury fires it into the corner in the Detroit zone. Jean Amel, number 5 of the Wings, in behind Gilbert. Up on the right side, Mal Davis has it. Davis, a rink-wide pass to Paul Woods. Here now Paul Woods playing it deep into the Boston end. Milbury in behind his own goal. He left it there. Davis in after it. And Davis missed the check from Redmond. Mal Davis. Davis trying to pull away, but the puck knocked off his stick. Middleton didn't get it out, and Mahovlich drilled one way over the top of the net. Milbury turned around in behind the goal, clears it into the corner. Paul Woods gives chase to it, and it's fired down the ice. They waved off the icing, so the Wings are going to have to play it. 2-2 tie. John Barrett, the rookie of the Red Wings, up the right side. Mal Davis clearing it out center ice. Dwight Foster hands it back to Milbury. Now it's Cashman. Wayne Cashman lost it. Mahovlich took it away from him. Got it over the line, but Redmond covered up. Foster with it again. Played it behind Milbury. It goes deep into the Boston zone. Milbury in after it, and the Red Wings have been checking well. Here's Foster, turned around by Nedomansky, continues the move. Then center ice, Foligno stopped him. A quick pass ahead to Danny LeBratton. A drop pass, Jim Korn with a shot, and he fired that way wide. Coming right back now, Lalonde. Lalonde gives it to Peter McNabb. Over the line, McNabb took the shot. That's blocked, and on the rebound, they score. It came right out to Lalonde. It was left all alone. And it's 3-2 Boston after the Wings have been carrying the play.
Well, a bad break here on the goaltender. McNabb goes in. McNabb takes a shot. The puck hits Huber's leg. Bounce back, hit McNabb, and comes right over to Lalonde. And he beat Gilbert on the short side. 2 caroms of that puck. The first shot from Huber back to McNabb, hit his leg, and then bounced just perfectly for Lalonde, cutting in the left side.
So Bobby Lalonde gets just his second goal of the season, and the Bruins a 3-2 lead. Now the play held in. Here's Mike Foligno with a shot. That deflected wide of the goal. Puck bouncing around, going after it, Nedomansky. Danny LeBratton couldn't control it. McCrimmon. The Wings checking ferociously inside the Boston zone, but that one move. Here's Willie Huber with a shot. That hit the goalpost, grazed the outside of the goalpost. Puck still bouncing around in the Boston zone. Foligno chasing Redmond. Dick Redmond dumped it over on the right side, goes after it himself. Now laid it back into his own end for McCrimmon. Bad McCrimmon, with a little more than 2 minutes to go, is going to ice the puck. And the Wings will touch it, and the play will come back into the Boston end. And you are watching Red Wing Hockey on WKBD TV 50, your choice for sports in Detroit.
I don't know about shots on net, but the Wings have had some excellent opportunities here in the second period. And a bad break right there, hit Huber, back, hit McNabb, and then right to Lalonde. Doesn't give the goaltender a chance to recover and be able to play an angle shot like that, because he was playing the shot, the original shot, that didn't come through.
Now Dale McCord in against Rattel. McCord won the draw. Reed Larson back on, took the shot. It's out in front. The Wings couldn't get to it. Here's Ogrodnik with a shot, and it ducked just wide of the goal. And Detroit has been coming close and just can't find that net now in the second period. That's Milbury. Milbury clears it up the left side. Rattel out at center ice to Cashman. Cashman was turned around, picks it up again, carries into the Detroit zone. Into the corner after it, Dennis Polonich being chased by Rattel. 1:35 to go in the second period. Ogrodnik was stopped there by Park. Wings failed to work it out. It's dumped in along the boards. Reed Larson played it out to center ice. Now Cashman comes back after it. Cashman's pass back into the Detroit end. Barrett cleared it back to the Boston line, and Park has it there. 3-2, the Bruins lead. 1:15 to go here in the second period. Reed Larson stopped Cashman. That puck in along the boards again. Rattel trying to dig it away. He did, but Barrett will take it in his own zone. Head now to John Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik just rolls it in. It goes right to the goaltender, Craig, and Milbury. Played it up the left side, or the right side for him. Willie Huber, with a minute to go in the period, drops it back for Barrett. Now John Barrett's pass broken up. Covering up was Ogrodnik, and Ogrodnik plays it in. 50 seconds to go in the period. Milbury up the left side to Cashman. Now Wayne Cashman hands it off to Brad Park, ahead to Rattel. John Rattel up the left side. Cashman after it, tipped away, and Paul Wood scoops it ahead for Peter Mahovlich up the left wing, over the line, but offside as a puck came in behind him was Errol Thompson. The Detroit Red Wings' next home game next Thursday against the Quebec Nordiques. Tickets are available at the Joe Louis box office and all the CTC outlets, including Hudson's, K-Bombs, the Olympia Ticket Service, the Windsor Arena, the Eyebrows Bookstore, the Fisher Theater, Connolly's Jewelers, the Wren Cellar, Showerman Party Store. That's the Red Wings and the Nordiques, and that's next Thursday, at the Joe Louis Arena.
One out-of-town scores in, Bruce. New York Islanders are leading Colorado 3-0 at the end of the first period.
Now Willie Huber at center ice. Puck slid into the Boston zone. In after it, Redmond. Redmond clearing it to Brad McCrimmon. Now it's knocked away by Reed Larson, and the wings, Errol Thompson, played it behind Mahovlich. Miller trying to get loose. Paul Woods covered up on him. Willie Huber played it too far for Reed Larson. That's going down the ice. 10 seconds left in the period. In behind his own goal, Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon sweeping it up the right side. Huber stops it at center ice. Time will run out as the Wings have the play in the center ice zone, and the siren goes to end the second period of play. And again, a very evenly played period of hockey, but one that sees the Red Wings skate off with no goals scored, and the Bruins up 3-2, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Does your car engine run on after you turn off the key? Does it knock when you accelerate? You could solve your problems from the very first tankful of Amoco Premium Lead-Free. To find out, try the Amoco One Tank Test. Let your gas tank run down near empty. Then get a full tank of higher octane Amoco Premium Lead-Free. If your car doesn't have these problems, use lead-free Amoco in the blue pump.
That's Amoco's lead-free choice.
You expect more from a leader.
The legendary Jeep vehicles. They've been transporting troops, delivering mail, weathering storms, and winning races longer than a lot of vehicles have even existed. Today's Jeep CJ is taking more kids to school, more couples out on the town, and more families to Paradise Lost than ever, and getting more miles per gallon than any four-wheeler built in America. 1981 Jeep CJ. The legend lives on. From Jeep Corporation of American Motors.
Ain't that old Walt?
Reckon so. Them are his boots.
How old was old Walt?
Don't know, but them boots his can't be more than 8 or 9 years old. They're Herman survivors.
Well, looks like he kicked the bucket in them.
Yep.
Reckon he won't be needing them much anymore.
No.
Herman survivors last a long time. They're the boots that never say die.
Now at JM Sporting Goods and Swans. Thursday, December 4th is free puck night with the Red Wings. The first 7,000 youngsters 16 and under will receive a free puck, compliments of Coca-Cola and the Red Wings. That's Thursday, December 4th, Red Wings Coca-Cola puck night.
So from here at the Boston Gardens, after 2 periods of hockey, the Detroit Red Wings 2 and the Boston Bruins 3, with Lalonde's goal at 17:08. The only goal of the period, a period that saw 15 penalties in all called, and Sid, it was a rather wide openly played period of hockey, and I thought an enjoyable one.
A very good period of hockey, and I don't think, Bruce, that the Wings could play better than they did that period. They checked Boston real strong in their own zone. They kept them pretty well out of the Red Wings zone all night long, and it just got to the one break. McNabb on a breakaway with both defensemen back, took a shot. It hit Willie Huber, bounced back and hit McNabb, and then went across just perfect for Lalonde breaking in from the left side. And it's a case where a goaltender can't just recover that fast to cover angles, and a break for the Bruins. And somewhere along the line, the Wings have to get a break like that on a big goal.
Well, each team had 10 shots on goal in the second period, so the Wings now have a total of 19 and Boston 17. And I'll tell you something now. Let's see what can happen in this third period. Detroit has played disastrous hockey in third period play throughout much of this season. They have scored 19 goals in the 23 games that they've played, third period. They have given up a total of 46, if you can believe it, in 22 games, actually. So I kind of hope they tighten things up and play the hockey game the way it's supposed to be played here in the third and final period. So the score is 3-2, Boston leading Detroit. Well, Lefty Wilson is going to be on hand now to answer the question placed his way by our fan forum. So let's join Mr. Wilson.
This is Fan Forum, a chance for Red Wing fans to ask the questions. Now, here's Al Blade.
We are back with Kathleen Forcinos, and she has a question for the trainer of the Detroit Red Wings, Lefty Wilson.
I understand Lefty Wilson once played in goal for the New York Rangers. How did that come about, and what was the score, and did they score against Lefty?
No, it was the Boston Bruins. In 1956, Al Simmons dislocated his shoulder at the 8-minute mark of the first period, and I filled in for Boston, and the score ended up 2-2.
My thanks to Lefty Wilson and also to our guest fan, Kathleen Forcinos. Join us next game for Fan Forum.
The Renault Revolution has begun.
Renault 18i.
Introducing the front-wheel drive performance machine that matches BMW in acceleration, but beats its price by $4,000. The Bosch fuel-injected family sedan that beats the gas mileage of Toyota Celica. Renault 18i. At more dealers than any other European car.
Renault 18i.
Renault. More than just economy. At American Motors.
What's the pesky difference that makes the great American brand great? Well, if you're talking about ham, you're talking about carefully selected lean and firm hams, just full of sweet smoke flavor, lean and firm. That's the quality difference. Great American brand hams from Pesky.
Pesky makes the difference that makes great American great.
Lean and firm Great American brand hams from Pesky are available at all Great Scott supermarkets. Ask for them. Some of the guests on Red Wing Hockey receive an AM/FM cassette recorder from Sound Design, who also feature the stereo console with 8-track and cassette player recorders and phone. Available at all 23 Good Housekeeping neighborhood stores.
On November the 24th, Jim Skinner, the director of hockey operations for the Red Wings, appointed Wayne Maxner as the Red Wings' new coach. I asked Jim how he arrived at the decision.
Well, I've watched Wayne for several years, coaching junior in the Major Junior Hockey League, which is the toughest amateur hockey in Canada. And there's a lot of outstanding coaches like Scotty Bowman, the new kid in Washington, Green, have come out of there, and several other. We've all come out of that league, and I felt that Wayne had a lot of confidence, and he handled his club very well. He got a lot out of the players that he had, and I have a lot of confidence in him.
Jimmy, what kind of a club are you turning over to Wayne?
I think that we're turning over a real outstanding club as far as players, I mean, ability and talent, and I think Wayne is the type of fellow that can get the ability out of them. I don't think we have got the extreme ability out of them, and I think that Wayne's the type of fellow that can get guys like Netamansky and LeBratton that had 30-goal year last year, and they'll come back.
When you have been with the Red Wings since training camp, you know what kind of talent we have here. Are we a last-place club?
I don't feel so, Al. I never thought so at that time, and I don't think so because I'm in this position. I feel that quality on the hockey club, I think you're looking at the middle of the pack. I think, you know, we're kidding ourselves that we're an 18th or 19th place hockey club. I feel we have sufficient offensive threats that certainly warrant more than a last place hockey club or a playoff berth. I think we should definitely be, you know, in 12th or 11th until maybe after I get here, well, maybe we should be a little higher. But going in, I said, you know, you have to be realistic, and realistic right now is to take a run at the playoffs.
When you have an advantage over a lot of coaches that could have come here because You were right next to us here for the last 5 years in Windsor. You're here during training camp. You've known Jimmy Skinner for a lot of years. So you know this hockey club. Can we expect any changes as far as maybe your lineup combinations in the early going?
I think we'll all, you know, communicate and find out really, Al, what we have to do to win hockey games. And the lineup, of course, will change. I think I'm going to be experimenting in the first few games. You're going to find out basically what talent can play with what talent. You know, you have to have a combination out there of a checker, a finesse, a goal scorer. I don't think you can put 3 finesse hockey players on one line. I don't believe in it. And you can't put 3 aggressive people on one line because somewhere along the way you're going to lose. And I feel if you have that balance that you're going to be successful. And hopefully the balance that we have here is going to be sufficient talent to get us into the playoffs and start to go up the ladder instead of where we're at.
If Jimmy Skinner came to you at this very moment and it was he asking this question instead of me, and he said, Wayne, what do we need to do to turn this club around? What would be your answer?
I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go to Jimmy. And, you know, Jimmy and I communicate very well. We are on the same wavelength. We discuss the hockey club. If I feel that a player isn't going to do the job for us, I'll go to him, and vice versa. Of course, Jimmy may come to me, but I think I know Jimmy as well as anybody in the organization, and I feel that I can go to him with an open mind and say, look, so-and-so isn't doing his job. I think we should maybe make a move with him. I want to give the players an opportunity to play for Wayne Maxner and the Detroit Hockey Club. I don't know how long I'm going to give them. I feel that there's sufficient talent there, like I said earlier, to progress. If they still want to play that lackadaisical style of hockey, then I don't want them. I don't think the fans want them, and I don't think the public, you know, especially, are being the ones that are going to get hurt by them playing that wishy-washy hockey. I want to play a style of forechecking, skating, and checking. Not goon or overly aggressive, but do your job. And the fans will respond, the players will respond, and you got to get that attitude turned around, Al. You know, you want to get that positive attitude in that locker room, and certainly inside the building. You know, there's nothing worse than sitting around with negative people and always want to be knocking instead of, you know, helping. And you do that by working on the ice, and I think, and I know, we'll turn it around.
Wayne, obviously there's a lot of difference in coaching junior hockey and the American Hockey League and now the National Hockey League. You've done all of this in the last 7 months, and I congratulate you for that. You speak of getting these players to do this and to do that with junior hockey and send them back home. In American Hockey League, you can set them out because their contracts aren't very large, or you can cut them or whatever. But in the National Hockey League, you have people with contracts of no minor league clauses, or they're making the big dollars. They have long-term contracts. A lot of people say, how do you motivate those kind of people? Do you have a secret?
Well, Al, I feel, and I'm being very truthful, which I always am, they were junior hockey players at one time. I think, sure, money enters into the picture to a degree. I'm an individual. I coach in junior hockey, as you said. I coach in the American Hockey League, and I now coach in the National Hockey League. What motivated Wayne Maxner? Was it the money? Was it the idea of the coach in the National Hockey League? And the players are no different. They want to play in the National Hockey League. They want to be motivated, and they want discipline. And I'm going to give them that opportunity, and I'm going to give it to them. Now, if I run into a problem, Al, that maybe I have a player that I really can't reach, then we better give him away, because he's no good to the organization, he's no good to the hockey club and himself. He's better off elsewhere. And hopefully we won't run into that problem, but if it arises, then Jimmy and I are going to look after it.
Jimmy Skinner says that you're a no-nonsense hockey player or a coach. Glenn Hicks has said that you're a very disciplined type coach. You may get the impression that you're very hard-nosed. Do you consider yourself that kind of a coach? Are you a rough guy?
I'm a better coach than I was a player. I realized the mistakes I made as a hockey player, and I think that's helped me in the coaching aspect of the game of hockey. And I've probably did more research as a coach and listened to people more than I did as a player, certainly, because I never used to listen to the coach. But as a coach, I listen to people, I listen to the person on the street, and he may just come out of the blue with an idea for me. I always have time for people, Al, and I find that if you communicate with people, you can't be anything else but successful.
I'm walking into the kitchen, see? Now, open up the refrigerator door. And I look way in the back behind the mayonnaise. I spy me an icy bottle of Coke. Now pops it open. When that ice-cold Coke hits the back of my throat.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good, makes me feel nice. Have a Coke and a smile.
That's the real thing.
When your grandfather was a boy, he probably asked Santa for a mechanical bank and a Lionel train.
Oh, boy.
When your father was that age, chances are tin soldiers were on his Christmas list. And a Lionel train. When you were a kid, coonskin caps were in, and Lionel trains. This Christmas, give your kids a Lionel Christmas with the James Gang Action Train. Why just give a toy when you can give a tradition? Lionel.
Now, you can order Red Wings souvenirs and gift items by mail. Choose from a wide variety of distinctive souvenirs. Over 200 items ranging from keychains to jerseys, T-shirts, pennants, hats, baseball caps, plus Red Wing jackets with crest in sizes to fit both boys and fathers. They're great for gift giving or for yourself. For a free brochure, call the Red Wings at 963-8400 or write Detroit Red Wings, 600 Civic Center Drive, Detroit 48226. Call 963-8400.
The Red Wings are now offering a great selection of books on hockey at a special holiday price of 3 for $10. Books on goaltending, Bobby Orr, Jack Adams, many more. All 3 for $10 on sale at all Red Wing home games. Puritan Sportswear provides Red Wing intermission guests with a handsome sweater and knit shirt ensemble. Puritan, America's standard for quality in men's sportswear, available at fine stores everywhere. Thursday, December 4th is free puck night with the Red Wings. The first 7,000 youngsters 16 and under will receive a free puck, compliments of Coca-Cola and the Red Wings. That's Thursday, December 4th, Red Wings Coca-Cola puck night.
So the game tied at 2-2 after, 3-2. The Bruins going out in front with a little less than 3 minutes to go. Shots and goal, that was the tie. 10 aside in the second period. After the Red Wings had 9 in the first and Boston 7, so Detroit with 19 shots overall. And the Bruins 17. A lot of penalties in the second period, 15 in all. But the
Gus Pantel and Terry Deutsch from Pontiac here and come up with a sign. There's Big Gus wanting to say hello to folks back in the Pontiac area. And we have Karen Root here from Southfield again. She was over in the island. She must be a terrific hockey fan. She wants to say hello to Debbie Dillard, Diane Watt, Susan Boyd, Leonard Samuels, Dennis Glenn, and Tammy Runkamp. I got that all in.
Very nice, very nice. Started to say that the penalty box is finally empty. It was filled most of the second period. So the teams are at full strength and everybody available. Puck goes into the Boston zone. Jim Craig in behind his own goal. Leaves it there for Brad Park. Now Park's pass out on the left wing to Cashman. Boston captain clears it ahead. The rookie Steve Casper driving it into the Detroit end and out of the net. Gilbert played it to center ice. With it there is Park. Pass almost broken up, but Foligno couldn't get to it. Cashman gave it to Middleton with a shot. Gilbert stops that, hands it off to John Ogrodnik, and at center ice, Park takes it. Now here's Casper coming right back in. He's stopped by Reed Larson. Dale McCourt starts out. Quick pass on the left side. It skipped over Ogrodnik's stick. Casper took it back into his own zone. Cleared it there to Milbury, Mike Milbury. Up the right side, too far for Middleton. Puck hit the linesman. Middleton picks it up. Now it's Ogrodnik coming out with it. Ogrodnik's pass too far for Foligno. There'll be an icing call. It's back after it Milbury, so the play will come back into the Detroit end. We have played a little less than a minute of the third period. Red Wings and the Quebec Nordiques Thursday night at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit.
We've been waiting for several games for Danny LeBreton to get a point. He needs 1 point for his 100th point in the National Hockey League. Dale McCourt needed 3 goals for his 100th. He got an assist tonight on a perfect setup with Huber. In fact, I think Dale is playing one of his stronger hockey games tonight. He has been a little off the last few games.
Now Korn digs in behind his own net and starts out. Here's Jim Korn carrying it up to center ice. Glenn Hicks on the move. Puck driven into the corner. Hicks goes in after a bouncing puck. McNabb rode him off, and now here's Dick Redmond with it. Redmond playing it down the ice. And this time the icing call will be against Boston, and we'll come right back into the Bruins zone for the face-off. We've played 1 minute and 15 seconds of period number 3. Out of town, the only score posted, the New York Islanders leading Colorado 3-0. That leaves Quebec at St. Louis tonight, and out on the West Coast, Hartford and the Los Angeles Kings. Great seats still available for Red Wings season tickets below the walkway at the Joe Louis Arena. For Red Wings season ticket information, call 961-6444. Peter Mahovlich and McNabb. That's Redmond in behind his own goal. Dick Redmond clearing it ahead to McNabb. Peter McNabb dumps it deep into the Detroit zone. Gilbert out of the net to play it away from Jonathan. Willie Huber took a whack at it. Dwight Foster, number 27. It came back to McCrimmon with a shot, and Gilbert grabbed that just mast high.
I think that puck would have gone over the net, though, Bruce, but that just shows when you let up a little bit along the boards, the puck went back out to the point. And Mike Milbury got all, or McCrimmon, I believe it is, got all the wood on it. He really fired it. And it was high, but Gilbert got that big glove up. He has got quick hands, good reflexes, Gilbert.
They liked him here in Boston, but like so many group of fans, they liked him a lot better when he came back after he was traded. He took a little abuse here from time to time.
He's well liked by his teammates. He is a kid that really gets along with everyone.
Another shot by McCrimmon, deflected just wide of the goal. Taking it off the boards, Errol Thompson shoveling it ahead. Peter Mahovlich got over the line, but Redmond slowed him up. Now the Wings make the player change in behind his own goal, McCrimmon. Brad McCrimmon up the left side for McNabb. That's Stan Jonathan. Jonathan playing it back to McNabb. Foster digging into the corner. Barrett in after him. Barrett wrapped him heavily to the boards. It's dumped back to the line. Here's McCrimmon again with a shot, and Gilbert came up with a big save on that. Now going after it, Dennis Polonich. Handed back to Barrett. Red Wing rookie cleared it up the left side, and Thompson just kicked it out to center ice. Redmond put it right on the stick of Reed Larson. Larson's pass to Errol Thompson, and Redmond tipped it away from him. Thompson went in after it. Errol Thompson in along the boards with Redmond. Going in there also is Rattel. He knocked Thompson down. Puck goes in behind the goal, and McCrimmon has it there. Handing it off to Secord. Al Secord's pass ahead to Morrison, and Barrett came back. He and Morrison go in along the boards, and Morrison is down on top of the puck, so the play will stay in the Detroit end.
That's one thing I like about young Barrett. When he goes in along the wall with any player at all, he makes sure that he keeps them pinned.
The Wings argued that Morrison was down on top of the puck and wanted the face-off out over the blue line, but the referee said no. Morrison actually was
too. Errol Thompson's playing hurt tonight. His knee was bothering him, and his shoulder, both on the same side, and I don't know now, after watching him in the dressing room, whether it was his right or left side.
Paul Woods pulling away. The puck went off the stick of Melnick up into the Boston bench, so the play will stay on the Boston side of the center ice line. We have played now 2 minutes and 43 seconds of the third period. It is 3-2. The Bruins lead. Nedomansky. He's got LeBratton and Woods on either wing. Rattel won the draw. Gary Doak back in his own zone. Now it's Rattel at center ice. Nedomansky knocked it away from him. Doak comes back to cover up. Gary Doak played it back to the center ice zone. Here's Rattel with it. John Rattel over the line. Rattel's pass went off the skate of Paul Woods, but Nedomansky lost it. And Korn covered up in front of his goal. Korn dumps it out center ice. Melnick, Larry Melnick, played it away from everybody. Here's Willie Huber on the move. Big Willie charging over the Boston line. But he was checked right there, and Secord steers it back into the Detroit end. Back after it, Korn. Skating in behind Gilbert. Now Jim Korn winding up. Korn from center ice, clearing it in behind the Boston goal. Craig stops it there. Milbury starts out with his pass knocked away by Mike Foligno. Foligno setting up LeBratton, and he shot wide as he cut in, and the Wings have been off target at times. Puck coming out center ice. Casper got a stick on it. Secord in along the boards with Reed Larson. Now that's Brad Park handing it to Morrison. Morrison played it back toward Park at the line. Park dumped it into the corner again. Barrett goes in along the boards, and they hold it there. Face off to the left of the Detroit goal. With the score 3-2 Boston. We'll be back in a moment.
We'd like to introduce the 1981 American Motors Concorde.
Pretty ain't enough anymore, mister.
You're right, but Concord's more than just good looking. This luxury compact's made of the same stuff you are.
Huh?
Steel. Galvanized steel. Concord's the only American car with galvanized steel in 100% of the exterior body panels.
But is it tough on gas?
Concord beats Chevy Citation.
Mister, you might be onto something.
See the all-new 1981 AMCs at your Metro Detroit AMC Jeep dealer.
Bruce Martin along with Sid Abel, our producer Toby Cunningham, and the Detroit Red Wings and the Boston Bruins 4 minutes into the third period. Long pass out at center ice. Mike Milbury broke that up. Now Casper played it right back into the Detroit end offside.
You know, the Wings, Bruce, we mentioned this earlier, the Wings are still playing their positions. They're going up and down. The big thing is that they're down by one. They're going to have to open up a little bit and see if they can get this thing tied.
The rookie Steve Casper, and he's been quite a pleasant surprise.
Yes, he's played very well for this Bruin Hockey Club.
9 goals, 9 assists. Here's Reed Larson. He stopped right at the line by Milbury. Now Dale McCourt drops it back. Barrett flies it at his own line to Reed Larson. Out at center ice, Middleton broke that up. Now Rick Middleton moving back into the Detroit zone, turned around by Barrett, and coming back is McCourt. Dale McCourt just played it along the boards, took a bump there from Brad Park, and Milbury starts out, being chased by Ogrodnik. Mike Milbury turning in his own zone. Now comes out center ice. Ogrodnik tied him up for the moment, spun him around, and the play goes into the Detroit end. Gilbert hands it to Mike Foligno. Foligno just dumped his man, and it's picked up by Reed Larson. Larson playing it back into the Boston zone, going after it Milbury. It's played away by the goaltender Craig. Ogrodnik goes in with Middleton. Brad Park laid it in behind his goal to Milbury. Mike Milbury ahead now to Steve Casper. Casper shoots it into the Detroit end. Mal Davis goes in with Middleton, and they hold it there for the moment. That puck came loose. Here's Middleton with it, and he was stopped by Larson. Ogrodnik ahead now, and moving with it is Davis. Mal Davis, a one-man rush over the line, and he stopped right there as McCrimmon just low-bridged him. Play comes back now for Jonathan. Stan Jonathan clearing it back into the Detroit end, and John Hamel goes after it. Hamel left it there. Glenn Hicks. Hicks tied up by McNabb, still worked it ahead to Peter Mahavlich. He played it behind Davis. Puck rolls to the Boston line. McCrimmon hands it to McNabb. Jonathan took it into the Detroit zone. Peter Mahavlich took him off the puck. John Hamel just fired it along the boards. It took a crazy bounce, and here's Mahavlich coming out with it. Peter Mahavlich, three-man rush over the line, tried to go through. Craig stopped that as the puck just rolled to him. Now Dick Redmond clearing it ahead, and McNabb heads right back down the ice for Boston into the Detroit zone. Peter McNabb going to the corner with John Hamel. Puck held in by Stan Jonathan, put it right back out in front, and it went through everybody and will slide all the way back into the Boston end. At center ice, Jonathan. Play broken up at the Detroit line by John Hamel. His pass went behind Hicks, and Hamel got to it again, lost it for the moment. He and Jonathan battle along the boards. Foster tried to play it to the line, and that went behind Dick Redmond. Now Redmond hands it back to McCrimmon. A long shot wide of the Detroit goal. Errol Thompson will take it off the boards. Starts George Lyle out. Lyle a good move to center ice. Dennis Polonich the pass behind him, and Polonich went in ahead of it. So the lead passes just haven't been right exactly where they're supposed to be. And we shall be back with more after we pause for this message.
The Roundup. It sounds like thunder and moves like lightning. And when it's over, you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name. Bush. Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountain. Head for...
We have played 6 minutes and 38 seconds of the third period. This crowd making a lot of noise. Bruins lead it 3-2. George Lyle had the pass over to an open wing, and Gary Doak cleared it into the Detroit zone. Willie Huber back after it. Play broken up.
The penalties, I believe, Bruce, or one penalty at least. Doak and Thompson get their sticks up.
Well, they're two fellas that don't usually do that sort of thing.
It's surprising. Doak is still trying to get over at Errol Thompson. Errol Thompson doesn't get into the high sticking, and I'm sure that Doak is getting one of the penalties. I guess Thompson is too. And just prior to that, Polonich and young Morris, no, not Morris, and young Melnick were having words.
So the two of them go in. Harold Thompson of Detroit, Gary Doak of Boston. Time of the penalty, 6 minutes and 45 seconds. High sticking penalties to the two of them, minor penalties at 6 minutes and 45 seconds, so each team will play short a man. Nedemansky won the draw, it bounced away. That's Middleton with it. Rick Middleton trying to move in, he does. Handed it off to Rattel, going right in. And the puck knocked away from him just as he moved in to take the shot. Now Nedemansky trying to work away from Rattel. And Rattel came close. Dropped off to Barrett. John Barrett left it there. Reed Larson has it. Dumps it away now to Nedemansky. Nedemansky and LeBratton, the two Detroit forwards, with the play deep in the Red Wing end. Both teams short a man. Now here's Barrett, a long pass, tipped back by LeBratton to Nedemansky. He handed it back. Danny LeBratton trying to work around Brad Park. Went in behind the goal, hands it back to Reed Larson with a shot, and sliding low, making the save, was Middleton. And the puck ends up in the crowd. Saturday afternoon at 2, the Michigan Wolverines take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. College basketball action right here on TV 50.
Danny LeBratton made a perfect play from back behind the net out to Reed Larson, but the puck bobbled a little bit, and by the time Reed could get it to sit down right to get a shot away, a Boston player slid out, deflected it up into the crowd.
Wings move Peter Mahovlich and Glenn Hicks out now with Huber and Korn. Minute 16 left in the penalties. Number 11, the rookie Steve Casper. He's got Wayne Cashman as his other forward, Milbury and Park. Puck came back toward the line, held in by Huber. Now it's Milbury with it. Mike Milbury turning in his own zone, coming out center ice. That's Wayne Cashman. The puck got away from him. Peter Mahovlich takes it. Mahovlich will go all the way in behind his own goal. Playing it ahead now to Willie Huber. Glenn Hicks coming down the left side. Again, the pass behind him. Hicks came back to got away from the check. Takes it back into his own zone. Coming back, Wayne Cashman again. Cashman back. Trying to go around Korn. Put it right out in front. There's the shot. Went right through the goal crease. Gilbert was down and out of the play, and it may have struck the far post. Coming back, Peter Mahovlich. Now Mahovlich goes back in, dropped the pass, and Korn didn't get it. So he has to come back onside, hands it back to Willie Huber. Huber couldn't control it. Casper takes it. Each team short a man for 20 seconds. The Michigan Wolverines take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. College basketball action right here on TV 50.
Danny LeBratton made a perfect play from back behind the net out to Reed Larson, but the puck bobbled a little bit, and by the time Reed could get it to sit down right to get a shot away, a Boston player slid out, deflected it up into the crowd.
Wings move Peter Mahovlich and Glenn Hicks out now with Huber and Korn. Minute 16 left in the penalties. Number 11, the rookie Steve Casper. He's got Wayne Cashman as his other forward, Milbury and Park. Puck came back toward the line, held in by Huber. Now it's Milbury with it. Mike Milbury turning in his own zone, coming out center ice. That's Wayne Cashman. The puck got away from him. Peter Mahovlich takes it. Mahovlich will go all the way in behind his own goal. Playing it ahead now to Willie Huber. Glenn Hicks coming down the left side. Again, the pass behind him. Hicks came back to got away from the check. And finally, Parks takes it back into his own zone. Coming back, Wayne Cashman again. Cashman back into the Detroit end, trying to go around Korn. Put it right out in front. There's the shot. Went right through the goal crease. Gilbert was down and out of the play, and it may have struck the far post. Coming back, Peter Mahovlich. Now Mahovlich goes back in, dropped the pass, and Korn didn't get it. So he has to come back onside, hands it back to Willie Huber. Huber couldn't control it. Casper takes it. Each team short a man for 20 seconds. Hicks breaks it up at center ice. Now here's Glenn Hicks trying to work loose. Played it ahead to Peter Mahovlich. Mahovlich, though, turns and goes back to the Detroit bench. Foligno and McCourt come on. Milbury. Now Mike Milbury skates it into the Detroit zone with a pass to Cashman. It'll be broken up by McCourt. Foligno nowhere near him as McCourt goes into the Boston zone, turning with it, looking for somebody. Pass broken up. Here's Foligno coming in. It left it for Errol Thompson with a shot right on. The puck bouncing around. A penalty coming up to Boston on the delayed call. Korn goes into the corner with it. And as Redmond gains control, a penalty will be called. And now Detroit, trailing by a goal, will have the extra man. And we'll be back with a Red Wing power play in a moment.
Could he be someone special?
I think she's kinda neat.
Maybe he likes me.
Maybe she likes me. Wonder if we'll meet. It's so hard, but when the heart parts through,
That's when we go for something easy, like A&W.
Well, Detroit had an opportunity to score the goal before Milbury got caught in front of the net. Errol Thompson took a shot, didn't quite hit the corner, and Milbury come in and cross-checked Errol. Wound up getting the penalty to give the Wings the man advantage here now with 10:59 to go, the third period.
9:01, the time of the cross-checking penalty to Milbury. Face-off was whistled down, so we'll go through it again off to the right side of Jim Craig in the Boston goal. Sent back to Willie Huber. He took that shot right into Bob Miller. Puck came out, back on the blue line, fired right beyond Reed Larson. Lalonde really digging after it, so Gilbert came out of the goal to play it away from him. Willie Huber hands it back to Reed Larson now, and Larson starts out. Off to Willie Huber. Huber away from Lalonde. Detroit with the extra man. Foligno over the line, and he played it behind McCourt. McCourt took a backhander. He scores! And Dale McCourt finally gets the goal to break what has been a long goalless string, and he ties the hockey game, and he really was in, again, no position to get a good shot away.
Well, it was a bad pass, but he reached back behind him and got it, and he turned around, and he just backhanded this puck and caught the corner perfectly. Mike Foligno got knocked down alongside the net on the play, but he caught just inside the post, and this is Dale's first goal in quite some time.
Well, first goal in 9 games. He scored last back on the 6th of November. As far as I got, it was Huber and Foligno.
Foligno and Willie Huber, I believe. Foligno made the play over to McCourt, and he had to stop and reach for it, and watch, he just pulled it away from Miller, and on his backhand, right from the hash mark, didn't get it away that fast, but Craig had no chance on it at all.
McCourt's 7th goal of the season. Huber and Foligno the assist at 9:29. So 5 of McCourt's 7 goals have been power play goals. Here's Reed Larson. Now Larson playing it too far out in front of Peter Mahavlich. Driven back into the Detroit zone. Jonathan and Larson go in along the boards together. It's kicked loose. Here's Foster playing it back on the line. McCrimmon with a shot, and that's deflected just wide. Going after it, Larson. Now Reed Larson heads back out center ice. Got Polonich with him, but he's checked by Redmond. Jonathan played it back to the Detroit blue line. Korn gave it back now to Errol Thompson. Thompson's pass, Peter Mahavlich. Foster really decked Reed Larson. The puck right out in front. The Wings score. The Wings score, and out at center ice. I don't know. I never saw the light go on.
No, they didn't score, Bruce. They didn't put it in the net. We got a real fight going on with Foster and Larson.
Foster really dumped Larson at center ice. But with the referee going in the opposite direction, he never saw it. I saw the sticks go up down inside the Boston zone. Red Wing sticks, and thought they had the goal. Now
Peter Mahavlich waltzed right through the middle of the defense, went in, tried to pull the goaltender, and then just laid it across to Errol Thompson. And I don't know how Errol wouldn't have put it in the net. And I don't believe the whistle had gone because of the fight back in center ice.
Well, now the linesman did see what happened back here, but Sid, can he make a call or advise?
Yes, he can. He should advise the referee as to what started this.
He was standing right there and saw it.
I don't like to see Larson go in the penalty box at this stage of a hockey game. He has been playing so strongly for Detroit.
Foster's been playing rather strongly, too. Anyway, they're both in, and we'll see if there are additional penalties called.
Reed Larson catching his breath over in the penalty box.
Let's see what happened down the other end of the rink while we were watching this, Sid.
Well, I still can't figure out how they didn't put the puck in the net. Peter Mahavlich made a beautiful play right through the middle. Now he just works his way right in between Redmond and the other defenseman. Gives a little dig round the outside of Milbury, I guess it is. Now watch the puck come across. Oh, Redmond No,
He just missed the net.
he just missed the net. He put it right back into Craig. Penalty's being handed out.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, they gave Larson the extra 2 minutes.
Oh, well, I didn't see it start, so I can't
did.
comment on that. So there again, we were wondering if the linesman would say anything. The linesman is the one that saw the play.
Well, Larson was really decked when he moved out, and then he came back with the cross-check, and that must be what they saw. So Larson has the additional 2 minutes in penalty time, 2 for cross-checking, and each of them get 5 for fighting. So Boston, with the game tied at 3-3, and the Wings just missed an almost perfect opportunity to go out in front. The Bruins now will find themselves with the extra men. Brad Park plays it now to Dick Redmond. Redmond giving it to Rattel into the Detroit zone. Middleton moving in after it. Woods knocked it away. Here's Rattel with it once more. And Woods moves in after him up on the left side. Redmond drove the shot, and Gilbert catches that and falls down on top of it. So the play will stay out to the right of the Detroit goal. Dale McCord and Paul Woods with Korn and Huber. Penalty killers for the Wings. Peter McNabb, Rattel, Middleton for Boston. Here's Dick Redmond. Redmond playing it in behind the Detroit goal. In after it now, Middleton along the boards, back on the point. Brad Park. Park handing it back to Middleton. Middleton back to Park on the point. Middleton in the circle. Now Park will wind up and fire it. He did. It was knocked down in front. Rattel on the rebound. Wide and broke his stick. And Dale McCord whistles it down the ice. Great opportunity for Jean Rattel, but he broke his stick on the shot. Brad Park. Now Park clearing it ahead for Dick Redmond. Middleton shooting it into the Detroit zone. It hit that broken stick, came right out in front. And the puck was in the net. It hit the broken stick, bounced right out in front of the goal. And it ends in the net.
Talk about bad breaks. Now the linesman's going to pick up the broken stick. Gilbert went behind the net to make the play off the boards. It hit the broken stick, come right out to the corner, and Jean Rattel beat everyone to it. These are just unbelievable breaks. Look at where the puck comes out now. Gilbert got a stick there, but by the time he tried to dive back to get his hand on it, Rattel beat him to the puck, put it in the net.
It was Rattel's stick that was there
originally. Right.
So he could get an assist on his own goal, I guess.
Well, it's breaks like that that have been just a bugaboo to the Wings all year long. They're playing well enough to win hockey games, but when they make a mistake, it just seems that it costs them dearly.
Now, they couldn't get the assist on the goal, but it's Rattel's 5th of the year, a power play goal. And you have to wonder just what. The Wings missed an opportunity with Errol Thompson shooting wide of an empty net just a moment ago, right in on top of it. Middleton and Park draw the assists on the goal, scored by Rattel.
This is a case where the play had just been shot in the zone, and the goaltender, Gilbert, comes out, and then he realized when it took the bad bounce off the stick, he tried to get back and get the glove to it, but there is Rattel, 40-year-old veteran in this National Hockey League, probably the oldest player playing hockey.
Now here is Barrett's pass, knocked down at center ice by McCrimmon. It is now 4-3 Boston. Play goes back into the Detroit zone. Gilbert came out of the net and looked at a board back of the goal, too, as if to say, I think that was it. Puck knocked down by Cashman. Taken out in front by Netamansky. Netamansky lost it. Middleton took it away from him. Then Ned got it back. Gives it to Danny LeBratton. He's got Woods with him. Paul Woods over the line. Here's Woods trying to move in. The backhand shot goes wide. And it'll be Middleton taking it off the boards. He's bumped heavily by Jean Hamel. Barrett back at his own blue line, giving it right back to Hamel. John Hamel ahead now to Paul Woods up on the right side. And Milbury covered up there. Coming right back now, Casper up the left wing, Cashman into the Detroit end. He's got Middleton cruising in front. Middleton took the shot, and it went behind the goal. Now Cashman goes in along the boards with Hamel. Middleton went in trying to dig it out. They hold it for a face-off to the left of the Detroit net. 4-3 Boston. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's a lonely kind of job, riding fences, but it's a job that's gotta be done. So you get it done right. And then you head for the mountains. Push. Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name. Push. Head for Busch beer. Head for the mountains. Head for...
This shows why Rick Middleton scores goals. He takes Cashman's play. Jim Korn, just on a late change, come out and wasn't really paying that much attention. He got turned aside. Middleton let Korn make a play back at him, but then took a shot and come awful close to catching the short side.
Teams are at full strength to play in the Detroit end off to the left of Jules Gilbert. We have 7 minutes and 10 seconds, a lot of time remaining in the game. Now the referee is not going to allow a change. And Brad Park stays on, and McCrimmon has to go back to the Boston bench. Rick Middleton, who leads his team in overall scoring, assisted on Rattel's goal on the power play. Jonathan. Now it's intercepted by Mike Foligno. Foligno and Ogrodnik with McCourt trailing. Get it over the line. Here's Ogrodnik with a shot. Went over the top of the goal. And it's in along the mesh in the back of the net. They're going to claim that Boston was responsible for leaving it there, so the play stays in the Boston end. CTC makes purchasing Red Wings tickets easier than ever. Red Wings tickets are available now at all CTC outlets, including Hudson's, K-Bombs, the Olympia Ticket Service, Windsor Arena, the Eyebrows Bookstore, Fisher Theater, Connolly's Jewelers, Rensselaer, the Showerman Party Store, and Cicero's Den. Play to the left of the Boston goal. The Wings down by 1. Dale McCourt played it in behind the net. Turning with it is Brad McCrimmon. Now Rattel. John Rattel clearing it into the Detroit zone. Gilbert played it along the boards. Willie Huber tips it ahead for Dale McCourt. Now McCourt moving out with a pass to Jim Korn over the line. Korn drops it there for Mike Foligno. Back to Korn. Korn put it right through traffic. Foligno just couldn't get to it. Still bouncing around, but it'll be Dick Redmond to clear it out. Now Redmond firing it off to the side of the Detroit goal. Gilbert played it along the boards. John Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik stopped right there by little Lalonde. Bobby Lalonde played it into the corner again, going in after it. Korn. Korn up the right side. That skipped all the way to the center ice area. No, it wasn't right at the blue line. Now Foligno dragged it to the boards. So the play stays right at the blue line, and with a score 4-3 and a little more than 6 minutes to play in the game, we'll be back after this.
What's the Peschke difference that makes the great American brand great? Well, for hot dogs, the Peschke difference is bursting with flavor goodness in jumbo size and in super size for a bite of hot dog with every bite of bun. Bursting with flavor. That's the Peschke quality difference you can taste.
Peschke makes the difference that makes great American great.
Tell the folks at Great Scott that you want the bursting with flavor Great American hot dogs.
Face off just over the Detroit blue line. Peter Mahovlich. He's got Hicks and Mal Davis. Now make it Dennis Polonich with him. Polonich hands it back now to John Barrett. Barrett's pass ahead to Peter Mahovlich. Now Hicks. Up the right side, Polonich. Fired that shot. Knocked away by Craig. And Craig is going to hold on to it with Polonich cutting in on top of him. So the play stays in the Boston end to the left side of Jim Craig.
That's another thing I like to see. I like to see Dennis cut in like that. That was a real quick pass. Hicks to Mahovlich to Polonich. First thing you know, he's in the circle and let fly. Make those goaltenders make saves on you. Just don't keep trying to throw back off the wall.
Face off to the left of the Boston goal. That's Milbury being chased by Polonich. Puck is loose in the corner, then it's dragged into skates again, so the play stays still in the Boston end. Bruins lead at 4-3.
The latest score from out of town, New York Islanders 4, Colorado 1. Bossy has finally scored his 27th goal of the year.
Scramble of players inside the circle, but the Bruins come out with it. Casper driving it off to the side, coming out of the goal. Gilbert drove it right up into the crowd. Then wrapped his stick on the ice as if to say, I didn't mean to do that.
Well, I believe in the rule book there is a penalty for deliberately shooting the puck in the crowd, and the goaltenders don't like to admit that they did it on purpose, but Occasionally the puck gets on their stick in a wrong angle and things like that, and they do shoot it out of the playing surface.
5 minutes, 41 seconds still to go in the hockey game. The Wings down by 1. Nedemansky dropped it back for Korn. Jim Korn sweeping it over on the opposite side, and after a rolling puck, Willie Huber. Huber knocks it down, carries out center ice. Here's Danny LeBratton around Park. LeBratton going in, and somehow Craig got to that as Danny LeBratton cut right in. Here's LeBratton again, putting it out in front. Nedemansky's shot was blocked. Then Casper goes in behind the goal. Nedemansky in after him. It comes loose for Brad Park. And the Wings have done everything but put that puck in the net. Here now, Jim Korn just let it slide by, and after it, Middleton, and then he spills Middleton. Korn starts Nedemansky out. 3-man rush for the Wings. LeBratton over the line. Danny LeBratton looking. LeBratton's pass to Nedemansky with a shot. That's blocked. Blocked by Park. And picked up by Casper again. Casper went by Korn. Here's Casper trying to work away from Nedemansky, who squeezed him off the puck. And LeBratton comes back after it. Up the right side again, Willie Huber. Now Huber takes it off the boards. LeBratton with him. The pass to Danny LeBratton. He tried to hand it back, and it didn't come. Now Morrison, a quick pass over on the left side. Jonathan with Polino chasing him. Jonathan's pass off to the side of the net. Cleared along the boards. Jonathan holds it in. Now this will be Morrison going after it. Morrison, a centering pass. There's McNabb. He shot it. Now McNabb again, and a shot right on, and the save made. Danny LeBratton picks it up. He's been on a long time. Dumps it down the ice, and the Wings make the change. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the third period. 4-3. Boston leads. Barrett playing it off the boards. It's dumped ahead. John Hamel given a heavy spill by Morrison. Play back into the Boston end. McCrimmon sends Jonathan on his way. Now Stan Jonathan drops it. McNabb was dumped going over the line, and John Ogrodnik comes back. Ogrodnik playing it now to Barrett. John Barrett. His pass to Ogrodnik. Ogrodnik picks it up over 2 lines. They whistle it down offside. Well, what a Danny LeBratton made, Sid. He went right around the veteran Park.
And what a play Jim Craig made. He just got his arm up. Danny LeBratton had the corner of the net picked. He left Park standing there at the blue line. Takes his shot up just above his glove, off his arm. It was going right in the corner.
Enjoy a Red Wings hockey game at Joe Louis Arena with your club or organization. For group sale information, call Emily, 962-2000. Wings trying hard to get back into a tie hockey game. Rattel breaks it up at center ice, drives it back in. We have 3 minutes, 40 seconds to play. Sean Hamel in behind his own goal. Now Hamel starts out, banging it off the boards. Dale McCourt was slowed up, couldn't get to it, and then the race finally, Milbury wins it, so it's an icing call. And the play right back into the Detroit end. And now Reed Larson gets out of the penalty box, having served his 7 minutes.
And the clock is the big factor now. 3 minutes and 27 seconds to go, with the Wings down by 1.
Sid, we mentioned that the Wings have played some horrible hockey in third period and have lost a lot of games and leads and ties. Tonight, I'd have to say they've stayed right at it.
Yes, they have played a good hockey game all night long, Bruce. This is a difficult building to play in, and I think the Wings have given the Bruins more than they've wanted, but the Bruins got a couple lucky breaks and have the lead.
Now they kick away at the puck. It comes up to Errol Thompson. Thompson, who had a great chance to put the Wings out in front just moments before the Bruins went off. Here's Lalonde carrying into the Detroit zone, slowed up by Huber. Dennis Polonich picks it up. It's knocked away from him. Secord has it. Al Secord moving in, and Gilbert stopped him. Now here's Errol Thompson. Thompson playing it to Peter Mahovlich. Mahovlich over the line with Thompson. Here's Peter Mahovlich handing it back to Willie Huber. Huber sent it to the circle. Polonich had it tucked up in the skates, and the Bruins will bring it back. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Rattel giving it to Brad Park. Park trying to work around Jim Korn. They bang in along the boards. Polonich's pass picked off finally by Peter Mahovlich. He left it on the boards, and Errol Thompson takes it and swings it over to Willie Huber. Now Huber out at center ice. Huber played it into the Boston end. Milbury will bring it right back. Mike Milbury clearing it back into the Detroit end, and Huber goes back after it. Huber's been on a long time. Hands it now to Barrett. John Barrett ahead to McCourt. Here's Foligno over the line. Just failed to break loose. Cashman giving it now to McCrimmon. Played up on the other side, and coming out with it will be Casper. Steve Casper's pass. Here's Middleton. He's got Cashman open. Took the shot. And Gilbert got a piece of that. And Foligno having trouble at the line, lost it there to the rookie Casper, who sends it right back into the Detroit end, and now 1:45 to play. They go into the corner deep in the Detroit end. John Ogrodnik sliding it along the boards for Foligno. Mike Foligno didn't get it out. Casper holding it in again. And it's played in behind the Detroit goal. Oh, and Gilbert went in and really dumped Cashman with the referee staring at it. Now McCourt back. Here's Ogrodnik cutting over the line. Ogrodnik took the shot, and it bounced right away from the goaltender. As Craig had trouble with it. Puck stopped by the linesman. Linesman knocked it up into the Boston bench. And how Gilbert did not get a penalty, I will not know.
Well, it should have been a penalty, no doubt, but the referee just decided not to give it to him. Here's a 2-on-1 break, and the shot. Gilbert makes a great save on Middleton's shot. But then just after that, he went behind the net. I think he got a little bit of a break. Cashman, although I think did put a little bit of an act on, too, Bruce. He let himself fly over Gilbert's leg. The Wings have to get the play into the zone now, and be interesting to watch Wayne Maxner to see if he does pull his goaltender. There's only 1:15 seconds to go.
Boston wants to call a timeout. Jerry Cheevers is up and yelling. They looked as if they're going to call a timeout. The referee, Ron Harris, is not going to allow it. Now Jean Rattel comes off the bench, replaces Peter McNabb. And Peter Mahovlich won the draw, but it rolled all the way back into the Detroit end. Willie Huber back after it. Now we have 1:07 to go. Detroit would like to lift their goaltender if they can get the play down on the opposite end. Gilbert starts slowly to the bench. Willie Huber carries. Huber fires it into the Boston zone, and Gilbert vacates the net. Craig almost lost the puck in his own zone. The puck cleared down the right side, and Jonathan, with an empty net, is skating right in, takes the shot, and scores. And an empty net goal wraps it up. 47 seconds to go.
You know, Bruce, and there again is luck. The puck is shot from deep in Boston's zone, and it hits Reed Larson to make it onside for Jonathan. Reed Larson put a stick down. It hit Larson's stick. Now that puts Jonathan onside. Otherwise, he was offside. He was up well up beyond center ice. He just raced in along, picked it up off the boards, and threw it in the empty net.
19 minutes, 13 seconds, the time of the empty net goal for Jonathan. Dick Redmond and the goaltender Craig draw the assist on it. Puck ended up in the Boston bench, and the play with 36 seconds remaining will be inside the Boston zone.
Well, this has been a tough hockey game. Craig mishandled the puck to start with behind the net, went to pass it out, and misfired on it, and then finally Redmond came in and took it away from him, and Redmond just has thrown it up right there. It hit Reed Larson's stick, put Jonathan on, and what a play. I think it was John Ogrodnik, or no, possibly Hicks, that was coming back, tried to slide across to see if he could stop the puck from going in the net.
Well, Wayne Maxner is going to have to wonder what do you have to do, because his team has performed well here tonight. They had great scoring chances. Errol Thompson with a wide empty net. Nedomansky, a good many of them. Red Wing net is still empty. The Wings are down by 2. Willie Huber hit Foligno, and way offside was Dale McCourt. The play will come out over the line with now 28 seconds remaining.
Well, there's no difference between losing 5-2 and 4-2. The coach knows how the hockey club has played.
Puck bouncing back into the Detroit, and Larson goes back after it. Reed Larson's pass ahead to Jim Korn. Picked off now by McCourt. It got away from him. Here's Huber with it. Kicked it away to Danny LeBratton. 15 seconds to go in the game. LeBratton back over the line, and Redmond took that away. Redmond scooped it ahead, didn't get it out, but Brad Park does. Middleton played it into the Detroit zone. That's grabbed away by Reed Larson. Larson back out at center ice. LeBratton with just a second left. Picks it up, and the buzzer goes to end the hockey game. So the Red Wings did everything they could, I guess I'd have to say, but just ended up again on the losing end. 5-3, Boston with the empty net goal in the latter stages, skating off with a victory. We'll be back with more of it after we pause now for this.
Minnesota cattle drive. You put in long days under the big sky, and when the work's over, you head for the mountains. Bush. Head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Brewed the natural way, so it's always as smooth as its name. Bush. Head for Bush beer. Head for the mountain. Head for...
A day in the life of 4 of America's premium jeans. One brand is Kmart Challenger jeans. All 4 are pre-washed, reinforced where they have to be, including Kmart's Challenger, blended of tough Celanese Fortrel polyester and soft cotton. All 4 are wash and wear, with great fit and natural fade, including Kmart's Challenger. All 4 fight wrinkles, but the Kmart Challenger has one feature the others don't, a feature that makes it a winner. It's Kmart priced.
Shots in the third period said a little misleading. The Red Wings' great opportunities, they missed the net more than they were stopped by the goaltender. The shots on goal were 12 Boston and 4 for the Detroit Red Wings in the third period. The overall shots on goal, and Boston 29 and Detroit 23. But I would say one of the better performances of the Wings.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They were in the hockey game all the way. A bad break when the Rochelle goal put them behind.
And so that's the story of this one. The Wings returning home now Thursday night to Quebec Nordiques. Saturday afternoon at 1:30, the Philadelphia Flyers at the Joe Louis Arena. And then our next telecast comes up next Sunday with the Red Wings and the Minnesota North Stars at 8:30 telecast time from Bloomington, Minnesota. So that's the story of the game from here at the Boston Gardens. Bruce Martin speaking for Sid Abel, hoping you've enjoyed our telecast, inviting you to join us next Sunday night for the Red Wings and the North Stars from Minnesota. And again, tonight's final score, the Boston Bruins 5 and the Detroit Red Wings 3.
Red Wing Hockey. Tonight's game's been brought to you by Busch Beer. Remember, don't just reach for a beer. Head for the mountains. And by your Metro Detroit AMC Jeep Renault dealers, offering all-new 2-wheel, 4-wheel, and front-wheel drive cars for 1981. And by Peschke and the Peschke Great American Premium line of meat products.
The owner of a Jake